There we go. It works. It's so dodgy. Um, so I got a few things I wanted to talk about. I was in the middle of doing some breakdown stuff of Townsville, so I'll just share that straight away. Is that my phone telling me that my own live stream is happening? That's good to know. This bad boy. So we've got all that going. This is just me working through everything that happened at Townsville. I think, where am I up to? I'm up to the Saturday stuff. So I've just gone through Ryan Wood's screw up in qualifying on the Saturday. And then I think, is that something that happened at Kai Allen? No. Randall struggling under brakes. That's what we're looking at. Which there he is doing that. Which he seemed to have issues in the first. So he was struggling all weekend, really. Just didn't quite have the balance right. There were issues that he was battling. Kai Allen hit the curb hard in Q2. This is just one of those things that I do to try and understand what's going on. But I took notes for Townsville the entire weekend. I went through all the sessions and took notes for everything that happened, so you get a bit of an idea of how their weekend went. Allen was struggling for speed all weekend. That's why he wasn't really anywhere. So yeah, he's hit the curb hard, and then we've got a slide for Mostert, which is oversteer where the rear end wants to kick out. So slide in Q2, battling oversteer. Okay. Courtney reports an issue in qualifying, or a mistake in qualifying. So that could happen for him. That's interesting. So made a mistake in qualifying. Still ended up in the shootout though. And then Garthander made a comment about getting some more front end, so the car's more pointy, and the better you can manage that, the faster a car you're going to have. So top 10 shootout. Davo struggling with his tyres. A lot of people were struggling to turn their tyres on. But yeah, not. It's interesting when people are just reporting the same issues that they're having. So we've got what greens for Davo. Where is he? Davo's just there. Struggled to turn tires on in the shootout. Just means he didn't do his prep properly before he did his lap. Tiny rear lock, struggled for grip in the first corners. That's Feeney. People saying, Feeney dominated. He didn't. He made a remarkable recovery. That's what he did. Tiny rear lock in the shootout. Didn't really make a mistake any other time of the weekend, apart from just struggled with some rear end drive, and that's why his qualifying wasn't very good. He didn't actually do anything wrong, but he was struggling with it. Shootout, struggle for grip. For grip in first corners in the shootout. And then that's about it. Different people are using greens. Just tyre management. I'm not going to bother reporting on that because that's just a situation. I watched Apex Hunters today and their review of the Townsville weekend, and I agree with them. Everyone should have greens in the shootout. It shouldn't come out of your own tyre management, out of your own tyre bank. It should just be free. It should be part of the show that top 10 shootout means whoever did a better job in qualifying will get free greens, which means that the best teams don't have to worry about saving that set. They can just use them in qualifying if that's what they want to do. Brody couldn't get the tyres in the window either. Shootout. Learn how to spell. Okay. Tailwind on JLB's run. Oh, he had such a shocking shootout lap. It's sort of crazy, really, that Jack LeBrock was fast all weekend, but he kept on having issues all weekend. So that's interesting. So yeah, tailwind on JLB's run. Shootout lap. Wheel spin. Wheel spin. Pin on lap. Locked. Was it right? What? Front. Can't even read my own handwriting sometimes. What a nightmare. Murray caught the curb. Like the Erebus cars were fast, but they just kept on doing something. Kept on happening to stop them getting a better result. Apart from at least Cooper Murray got a top 10. He's fast, and you can see it pretty regularly that he has something there, but he just keeps on screwing it up somehow. What was it? Darwin, he got into was it shootout, Darwin? I think it was. And then something happened. I guess nothing happened? Hard to say. How do you go from 9th to 18th? So you caught the curb in shootout lap. Great job. And a big lock up into 11, of course. Jesus Christ, man. Forward on used tyres because the teams that struggle the most would just blow through their tyres, as Scotty said at Apex Hammers. Reynolds missed turn 1 Apex, but he still got pole. That's sort of funny that's the way it was. Anyway, where is Dave? This order is. I need to fix the order I've got going on. Missed Apex in shootout lap. JC Green's turn 3 drama. What does that mean, me? Just some sort of issue. Made a mistake in qualifying. And a mistake in shootout lap. Shootout lap. Possibly wind affected. Is it effect or affect? Oh, I never get that right. But I've written that affect. Brown, the double bounce. Yeah, he was shocking. You love a bit of double bounce in the shootout. No bounce in shootout, and missing turn 5 and 6. Feeney and Payne were in greens. And Big Dave Energy, aggressive warm-up strategy, new tyre, harder to warm up. Yeah, and a lot of people were not getting that right, but Reynolds was like, no, I think you have to do this. And then he did it. And then it worked. And then everybody ever had a crash in the thing. Waters kind of screwed himself over during that weekend by hitting the wall in qualifying, put himself that far down the order. What else? Oh yeah. So hang on. He got hit by someone, right? He got hit by Evans. Evans in incident with Randall. Um, Randall Golding and Stanaway, really. Stanaway was in there. I don't think he hit anyone, but he was definitely a factor. He didn't take any damage, I don't think, so it wasn't too bad. Percat ran wide. Percat had no balance or whatever it was. He just had nothing. Ran wide in practice, and I don't know what happened in that first race, but I accidentally forgot to put a 2 in there. Never mind. No pace in the Friday race, and then I guess he just bolted in Cam Hill's setup because it seemed to work. He went, oh, Cam moved up in the first race. I'll do that too. Ran wide in the race. Cooper. Okay. Now, did I hear that Will Brown was talking smack about Cooper Murray? He said, oh, Cooper Murray ran into me several times. Which was the one where Brown's just bashed into... Yeah, the one where he's put Brown out. Cooper Murray's in a little bit of carnage. But I guess the problem is you don't really see everything unless you have like what is it called? The shotgun thing. Which I haven't got the like Supercars Prime or whatever they want to call it, Supercars Plus. But I do like the idea of just seeing one car's view the entire time, being like, how's my favorite driver going? Or whatever driver you think is going to be most interesting, you just sort of see how they're going throughout the entire race. Alright, so Brown win, Cooper Murray right. Oh boy. And Brown is going to be mentioned a lot because he had such a shocking weekend. I think he tidied it up on the Sunday. I don't think he was bumping people out the way too much. Ran Murray wide. Randall got some damage. Something fell off the front. We don't know what it was. I think they did look at it, but we didn't really see it. On the version 2. Damage in the race. Something. Never mind. I know exactly what the incident's from. Damage from incident with who was it? Evans, Golding, Waters, Stanaway. Where Golding's entire car is just wiped over the side of Randall. So it was pretty much a miracle he got to the end. And I saw an article on Supercars just before I started where Golding had his first DNF since December 22 in Adelaide, which is crazy because you look at it and you go, where was it, Darwin? Perth. So he actually managed to finish. And the only one who didn't finish in that incident with Ryan Wood was Wood himself. So there's a few times where something happened. Aaron Cameron runs Allen wide on the way through, letting Mostert through. That's not too bad. It was so good to see Aaron Cameron with some race pace. But it sort of came with a price because he was just getting roughed up by other people. Like, if he was qualifying 13th in those first 2 races, I don't know what happened on the Sunday, but they didn't get it right. Maybe I'll have a note here that mentions something. That'd be good. But I got a lot of notes. There's several pages of it because I just took notes on everything that happened that I thought would be affecting someone's race results. So you end up with a lot of notes, especially from an action-packed weekend. Sometimes nothing happens. Like, I think, what is a Sydney Motor Park? That first race of the year, nothing happened. Nothing really happened. Where's Golding? There was something that happened with LeBrock, in the third race. Nothing happened in the first race. Apart from, Randall and Mostert? Was that the first race? Or was that a different race? Just nothing. It was a nothing race. And I can't remember who it was on Apex Hunters. I think it was Barbs who said something like, "Oh, the best race was that first race of the year." Except it wasn't the first race. It was the second race. The first race was a nothing. It was nice to see. It was nice to get a bit of action on the Friday before we rolled into the Saturday, but nothing really happened. We got some wins. We got, Mostert got his 100th podium, I think it was in that race. But it wasn't really anything. Randall on the podium, but then he went backwards for the rest of the weekend. But not great. It says I've got a viewer on the thing, so whoever you are, say hi. That'd be great. Unless you're just cool with watching me ramble and go through the stats and stuff. I've got other things that I was going to go through, but then I just started being V8 Supercars nerd and just going through all the details and trying to work out what's going on. All right, Aaron Cameron. Ran Allen wide on the way through. Because Scott Pye was talking about how Kai Allen was disappointing. Yeah, he was. He just had no pace. And that's sort of interesting, right? He's struggling with turn 11 in qualifying, rear damage in the race, hit the curb hard in Q2, just making these little mistakes that are costing him. And then I think it was the Sunday, he had this massive battle with Richie Stanaway. And Richie dropped off because I think old mate said that Kai Allen had fresh tyres. I didn't realise that because I wasn't keeping too much track of the strategy of their race strategy of when they were coming out with the fresh tyres. But that was one of those things. And let Mostert through. Got run wide by Cameron. Letting Mostert through too. All right. And Brown runs JC wide. Is it Brown or Brody? That looks like a Brody. Jesus Christ, I do write like a doctor sometimes. Like, look, is it a Brown or is it a Broad? Yeah. Hey, did I just not see your thing before? What's the number 1 thing for? What's that for? Oh, your top fan apparently got 25 XP. That's a cool thing. How does that work? Place for fans to stand out in the community. Top 3 get special badges. Resets every stream so you can always try again. You need to collect experience points. Send live chat messages. Send super chats and super stickers. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Are you cool with me just doing my thing, or do we want to? I've got some 2008 stuff that I wanted to ramble about, but I've also got like silly season stuff and all sorts of stuff to talk about. So yeah, whatever you're keen for, we can do. Do your thing for a bit. You're just chilling. No worries. I'll just do my thing. Get through all my stuff. Because going through all this helps me understand what's going on with people's weekends. So yeah, learn a lot about Kai Allen here. Was not having a good weekend. I know Heimgartner was just struggling. I think we saw somebody else. Oh yeah, Randall. The commentary kept on banging on about Randall, but he was having issues all weekend. So, and the same thing with Brody Kostecki. He was battling steering issues all weekend. Used up all his 2 sets in quali. Couldn't get the tyres warmed up. And also didn't change the setup on the Saturday, I'm pretty sure. All right, so is that Brody runs? runs Courtney wide. And then runs Brock wide. Letting Courtney through. That's sort of interesting. Look, he did have a bit of pace because he moved up a spot. So he had decent pace, but I guess on the Sunday maybe they used up all their tyres, or maybe they tried to do something with the setup and it just went backwards for them. Probably something like that. And then JC had his engine failure. And then Will Brown destroys Will Davison, which was really annoying because Will Davison just had everything go wrong for him all weekend. Tags Davison, pushing his rear bumper and causing tyre popping damage. Call it that. Then Courtney's engine failure. Heimgartner tags Davo as well. Yeah, that was like nail in the coffin, that one. Once that happened, it was like, all right, game over. No recovery. So, got tyre popping damage from Brown, then turned by Heimgartner. Okay, now I gotta find Heimgartner. Where is he? Top 10. And apparently I haven't written down his desperate dive bombs. Which was what? Friday. The Friday race. He was just trying to win the race pretty much on the Friday. Which, everyone's trying to do that. Desperate. No, that's not how you spell it. Is it desperate? Yeah. There we go. Desperate dive bombs on Cameron. Which isn't really something that affects his race, but it sort of shows what he was trying to do. There we go. The end of that one. Do. Alright, then he didn't actually do anything wrong. He was struggling himself all weekend. He did have some kind of race pace, but he didn't get a penalty for it, did he? I don't think so. No, that was like an accident. Okay. Tags Davison into a spin when Davo slowed into pits and Courtney was in his engine failure. Can't be blamed for something when everything was happening at that corner. ADP Murray would forward stay out under safety car, which sort of strategy things I don't really bother with, because if it doesn't affect him too much, there's no point reporting it. And they pit one lap later and it didn't seem to affect anything. Mostert bumps JLB wide on the way through. Kind of annoying how much speed Mostert had, but he was still bumping people. Bumps LeBrock wide on the way through. And I gotta find LeBrock. So it's really annoying for that car to have so much speed and everything going wrong for Erebus on that weekend. That they had fast cars and they weren't able to capitalize on it. And a 5-second penalty to Will Brown. I need to write that one eventually. All right. Got bumped wide by Mostert. on the way through. On his way through, because it was Mostert who was the attacking one. 5 seconds to a round. Boom. Five seconds for Davison incident. Call it like that. Where am I getting the information from? I took notes for Townsville. Yeah. I took I took notes. I'm reading off my book. My memory is not that good. I would have just forgotten heaps of stuff and made up stories. So that's why I took notes. Actual race results, I'm not good at remembering. So I've got every race's results up on tabs as well. So I went through that, and then now I'm going through everything that happened from my notes. So yeah, that's what's going on. 5 seconds for that. All right, what the heck have I written there? No changes to Brody's car for this race. So this is a Saturday race, and I thought this was a key thing to understand, is that they didn't make any changes for Brody's car, which seemed to be okay in that race because he finished 5th. He didn't win, but he finished 5th. And the cars that were fast that time was Mostert, and then you got Feeney and that, who weren't as good on the Friday race, so they were able to come through. Payne actually didn't have that good pace. He was barely good enough to get on the podium. Really, he was able to do a lap really well, but apart from that, it wasn't there. In the same way, it wasn't there for Kai Allen. It just shows the difference between Kai Allen and Matt Payne, is that Matt will do a lap properly. He won't screw it up. He'll just do everything right with the lap and then just get it done. There's 2 front row stars. He was qualifying in the first 2 rows all weekend, but he didn't have pace for the win. He didn't have that kind of pace. So no changes to Brody's car. I will write that down. That's important. Preparing another application window. That means this, right? Yeah. All right. No changes to setup for the race. Boom. Okay. Was released in front of Allen under investigation. Oh yeah, that one. That was stupid. I don't know why we didn't get any vision of that. We were supposed to have some sort of vision of what happened with the pit lane incident, but I don't remember seeing any. I don't remember seeing Kai Allen's car and seeing Kai Allen jump on the brakes. And unfortunately, because it's 2025 stuff, I can't show that. I could watch it, but I can't show it. So that's an annoying thing. So yeah, released. Hang on, here we go. Wait, is this the Saturday race still? Is this the Saturday race? Yep, it's the Saturday race. Waters must have run long. I think he did run really long. That must be why. But why was Kai Allen that far back? Because he was slow. That's why. Alright, so all that crazy nonsense happened. And then released in front of Allen in the pits under investigation. Okay, lap 22, Dave understeers. It's because Dave didn't have a fast race car during the weekend. He got a 10th. Alright, so not too bad, but when you're running up the front and you just keep going, you're not going to lose too much. Understeer race. Interesting that I've written that there's understeer. So he, rather than run wide, so it must have been in the commentators or someone reported it. 5 seconds to waters for unsafe pit release. It's a weird one though. 5 seconds. Forward lock up trying to pass Andre, but he blocks. Andre was driving like a man possessed. Blocks forward. Under brakes. Causing him to lock up. But just like so aggressive. It's Andre Hungana there. Desperate dive bombs on Aaron Cameron. A little issue with that. Blocking forward. Nuts. And then, oh yeah, then he's spun Cam Hill. Except he didn't have too bad a race, Cam Hill. So maybe he had pace for a top 10 in that one. How did he come 12th after that? He must have had something. All right, forward. Was there a safety car? Well, actually, yeah, there was. There was a safety car, but this is later. Safety car was here. All this nonsense is there. All right, so forward. Lock up. Trying to pass Hungana. But he blocks. Okay. And then where were we with Andre? Yeah, and then what is it? Oh, locks the rears. Okay, that's how we did it. Locks rears and tags. And tags Hill. What, do a spin? Yes. Hill into a spin. Forward. Runs into Andre. So I write first names when it's about a specific driver, but then, or I would say run into by forward. Run into rear by forward. Waters, Cameron, and Stanaway bumper cars. And so then I put a little note. Does the soft tire encourage hard racing? There was such aggressive racing on that weekend. I don't understand why anybody thinks that the racing was boring at Townsville. It was action packed. There was so much biffo. There was so much going on, and the only time that someone will get a penalty is if they got an advantage. There would have been a lot more penalties. Percat passes Aaron Cameron, bumping as he goes, of course. Because Percat had the worst weekend. He was nowhere all weekend. He's just mid-pack constantly. Cameron as he passes. As he goes past. That makes it sound like Cameron's going past. Cameron on the way past. I gotta make sure my notes are accurate so that when I read them I can get a good idea of what actually happened. So Aaron Cameron continues being bullied. This is making more sense what's going on here. My God, this poor guy. He finds some pace and then just gets bullied all weekend. I hope they don't change anything. I hope it's just like, yeah, we just need to work on the racecraft. Alright, gets bumped by Percat. What the hell is that? by Percat on the way past. On his way past. There we go. Team 18 just stinks. For David Reynolds, well, Anton actually had a really good weekend, so maybe it's just an Anton thing. Maybe Dave needs to get his mojo back or something. Every time they want to get rid of a driver, their car magically becomes ass. Yes, that is true. That is true. Was it last year? They got rid of Frosty, and he just couldn't make the thing move. It would just stay in position. There was no coming back from the rear of the grid. Yeah, first year Team 18 driver always cooks. Yeah, you're talking 2019 Frosty, 2020 Scott Pye, 2024 Dave Reynolds, and 2025 Anton De Pasquale. So yeah, we're gonna see Anton freefall. So I'll show my Team 18 presentation for a second. Accidentally right clicked, and then everything immediately wants to take too long. But it's just like every year in the championship. So Scotty has his dream first year for Team 18. It's like, yes, this is the team you want to drive for, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse, and then they get rid of him. I think it's mainly because that first year, the first 2 years, they actually had sponsorship. They had DeWalt on both cars for both years, and then as soon as it's like, okay, you have to bring your own sponsorship, then it's like, okay, this might be your last contract. But his championship results were not very good either, and Team 18 almost always get just half as many top 10s as is available. I think. Oh, I haven't got that. I haven't got the numbers for. Oh, I did do it. I didn't do it for Townsville though. How many races have we had now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 22. All right, so I actually need to update this because I'm pretty sure Anton got 3 top 10s. Yeah, he did 3 top 10s at Townsville. So he's maybe the way Scott explains his time at Team 18 just makes me believe it's the way it's running. It's just shocking that I see him in a Red Bull car. And I'm like, well, he's right. It's the team that stinks. Exactly. There's another podcast that I watched called The Valve Bounce, and they were complaining about Triple Eight being so successful, and I'm like, it's just because every other team sucks. The ones that are close are not close enough, and the ones that are occasionally brilliant need to be more consistent. You know, you're like your Walkinshaws and your Tickfords, they need to be there week in, week out. They're just not. Groves are there pretty much every weekend at this point. But yeah, put anyone in a Red Bull car and you'll see how good they actually are. So it's difficult to work it out. The Tradie Energy livery is atrocious. I was really disappointed that they didn't do anything better. I don't know why it's fluorescent yellow. It makes no sense to me. The pink one was okay, but I don't know. It confused the commentators because Neil Crompton couldn't tell the difference between the pink tradie car and Bryce Fullwood's car, but when he's got middies on now. So they changed the East Coast car rentals thing on the front bar there. Is that the same on the? Yeah. Sometimes they got the same sponsors, but sometimes they don't. When did they do that? I think it was last year or the year before. 2023 they did it. Just different batteries. I think Yuasa is not the same as Seal batteries, but I'm not sure. Industrial batteries. I don't know. Maybe that must be for like forklifts or something. Yeah. But yeah, Scott Pye's descent into madness. Uh, where is he? He's pretty much most of the time having like the best result of the year out of both of them, except for 2023. But he was actually out qualifying Frosty more and more until in his last year, he more often than not out qualified Frosty. I think in 22 he was better than Frosty. He just kept on getting screwed over by. I mean, the crash that he had in Townsville, that was on him. Then he had an engine failure or something in Adelaide when he was battling for the win. It's just like you can't make this shit up. It's ridiculous. And that's pretty much what he was complaining about, is that he wasn't. I think he said that he was actually shafted on performance clauses, but like they could just not renew your contract and not tell you why. But you know, maybe it's nicer just to say, yeah, this is why we think we can do better. But Lee Holdsworth went back, so maybe Charlie felt like maybe Charlie didn't. Maybe he wasn't rude to Lee, but like they got worse and worse every year since 2020. 6th, 7th, 7th, 8th, 10th. How do you come 10th in the championship as a two-car team that's capable of top 10s, capable of podiums? Just nonsense. The question is, and it's part of the silly season, is will Dave get replaced? And this is pretty much the catalyst for the whole season, because I bet you Blanchards want Dave, because who wouldn't want an experienced driver like Dave? It's not his fault he's 19th in the championship. It's the fact that he keeps giving a half-assed car. So, he's driven for top-line teams. Like, he drove for Groves and won races and got podiums. That's just a team that knows how to get its crap together. Team 18 is not one of those teams. You pretty much need to drive in and they got rid of Frosty because they reckoned that he was spent. But Frosty was still getting podiums every year. Once he started getting podiums, he started winning. He didn't get a podium for ages. I think Scotty only got the ones at Darwin in 2020. That was just as good as it got. We thought Dave would get a podium in 2024, but it didn't happen. I thought that it seemed like Frosty was more able to capitalize on top three qualifying, and Dave was less likely to do it. But Dave was just faster in the races, and he would make up positions and get more top tens. As you can see, Dave got the 10 top tens, and Frosty only got 4, and 2 of those are the podiums that he got. The other ones I think were like 10th at some other race. Like, it just wasn't good enough. It's just, it's not a good time. Explaining the testing schedules. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just the way, and I bet it's the same for not just Team 18. I bet it's the same up and down pit lane, like maybe Blanchards or something like that. Like, oh, there's a crash, we all have to pile on that car, so then the other car doesn't have a good time. Charlie has buckets of cash, acting as if he can't follow the AAA mold. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Charlie is actually that rich. I think he just like looks for deals. That's the impression that I've gotten from him. And I think that he runs the kind of team like he's an approachable sort of guy, and people like him because he feels approachable. But then, so that's why he got someone like Anton. Like, Anton, what are you leaving DJR for? He goes to Team 18. He probably could have had other options, like we know Erebus like to sign rookies, but Anton probably could have signed some sort of deal with another team. But yeah, it's interesting. The one team that rated Triple Eight said, "Bet let's copy the way they do things." Oh, shock, they're second now. Yeah, Anton is so stupid. I did a video on it. I did a video saying, like, I heard that he got a 1-year deal. He was offered a 1-year deal at DJR, and so he probably should have stayed there. He was like he was one of the fastest drivers in 2024. He just kept on out qualifying the car, and Will Davo was nowhere. Yeah, it's just. But I don't know. It's not over yet. It's still his first season, and maybe they've turned a corner, but it's so hard to tell. Like, they used to be rubbish at Townsville. They used to be rock stars at Darwin, and then they would go to Townsville and qualify at the back, which is what Scotty said is like sometimes you just rock up at certain tracks and you're the best team at that track, and then the next track you suck ass. Um, like Matt Stone Racing at they're really good at Tassie. Hang on, who's driving for MSR this year? Cameron Hill. Percat got the podium. So yeah, they just rock up and do really well. They go to Perth and they're on struggle street. Except they're not that bad. They're just not great. So it's not really the same. Dave has no business being in a top car like that at this stage of his career. Dave was offered to drive for Groves for 2024, but he refused. Which is what I noticed. I did a video talking about why Groves got rid of Richie Stanaway. Stanaway was always going to be on a 1-year deal. He knew he had a 1-year deal, and he chose to go with it. Dave was also offered a 1-year deal, and Davo, yeah, I don't know. Hang on, where are you, Will Davison? In some ways, he's just unlucky at the moment. In other ways, he's just not fast enough. I don't know if I'd say DJR are a top car. They haven't been a top car all of Gen 3. Their one races got podiums. 2024, they were just scraping for the scraps. They were just getting top 10s. That's all they were doing. I need to show that. He has no luck, but when has he ever had it? Yeah. Hang on. What have I got? Hang on. I've got a PowerPoint presentation on Will Davison. Yeah, I don't know. I think I need to look at the 2012 season to look at what happened with Will Davison, because he's come second in the championship. He's come third in the championship. He was on in 2012. Even when it was going good for him, it went bad. Yeah. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at. I wish I had really good data. Like, I've got actual data for Lee Holdsworth. FPR just shat the bed. I think they shat the bed by getting rid of him for Chaz Mostert, but Chaz turned out really well. So you can't really say that was a mistake, because Chaz was coming up. Just kind of got binned. And some ways you think, it's about the money, but it's tough. He probably did get signed by Betty for the money from Darwin. Triple A just flexed their muscle. In 2012, and David had a stinker Enduro Cup. Davo. Yep. Yeah, hang on. Did his car just die on him at Bathurst? Can't remember. Hang on. I'm about to show us. I'm about to go through it, and we're going to see. 2012. Where are we? Okay, this is annoying, because sometimes I just don't do a good job with this stuff. Gold Coast win. Nothing about Bathurst. Nothing about Sandown. You got the pole award, but yeah, how do you come fourth and have a championship capable car? He just had real consistency in 2013. Actually, you know what? I might look at the Tickford one. So I've got a Tickford one, which should show. I don't think I will. It's just going to show. No consistency. Ah. Macintosh. Shag the bet. Oh, shat the bed, you mean? Yeah. Maybe Johnny Mac was past it though, and the brakes failed. Yeah. So, and that can happen. That's a Tickford thing. Sometimes their cars just don't want to continue. They just don't want to finish the race sometimes, and then you end up, oh, this is what we've got. Like, oh, what was it? I think I was watching the 2011. No, I watched the 2016 Bathurst 1000. Three Tickford cars died for whatever reason. Frosty's had like brake issues where the brakes just disintegrated heading into the chase. Mostert, something happened. Oh, the engine just died on him, but something else had happened earlier. Pither, I think, had some sort of issue as well. And it was just Waters, and he ended up coming fourth. So sometimes it's like that. Sometimes yeah, they swapped with SBR because Yilden fucked up in 2011. Okay. Right. Hang on. What was that? Because he got a podium, but maybe they were on for the win. Then I got Tickford 1, if I look 2011. Because Yilden was good. You can see, I'll switch it to the Tickford 1. So here we got Yilden on the podium with Frosty at Phillip Island. Was he still a co-driver here? No, hang on. Oh, this is 09, that's why it's like that. And no co-driver results there. No. I don't remember where Yilden might have been back then. But yeah, not good enough. And then I think Yilden went to BJR or something. But no, not good enough. Put it in the fence while I was second in his first 5 laps of his stint. Okay. Okay. Right. So Yilden screwed up in 2011, but he's there in was he there in 2012? Safety car restart, put it in the sand in the last corner. Yeah, that Yilden and now was it Yilden? What year am I thinking of? Is it 2012 Bathurst? Where I don't know if it was Yilden, it was someone. It was with Coulthard in 2012. Yeah, and they started their successful partnership, BJR. He fucked up again. Yeah. Imagine carving out a career where you've got a Bathurst in you, but you just keep screwing up. And then eventually you end up with a car good enough to come third. And then everybody else, like the 2 guys who should have won the race, have issues. And then you just luck your way into a Bathurst win. It's sort of funny. Yeah. God, I wish I had stuff like that. I just thought it was fun. I think in 2021 he had his main game debut as a solo driver at the age of like 44 or something. That was great. I love that. I'm like, I wonder if Luke Jordan's actually going to be any good in this one. Because Erebus sacked him after 2019. They were like, we don't want him. He's won Bathurst, but he's so past it. And yeah, they're just like, yeah, our Bathurst winner, he ain't it. He's done. Yeah, because he crashed it with Dale Wood at Sandown, then brought him back. Well, with Reynolds. Then they like yeah, that was just weird. It was like he didn't compete in the 2020 Bathurst 1000 because Erebus sacked him. And then Davey went to Groves, and then they were like, "Yeah, we want Luke Jordan." And then after they He came back when Reynolds was at Groves, yeah. And then in 2022, they're like, "Oh no, we don't want Luke in the car in 22. No thanks." Who did he have? Who did Dave have at Groves? Because he didn't really have pace. He didn't have Luke. He had someone else. Uh, 22. Oh, hang on. Who was it? I'm remembering because his car got ran into. Was the one that got nailed by Goddard. Because Matt Payne was in the other car. Who was it? Matt Campbell. That's right, Matt Campbell. Yeah, that was really disappointing because I'm like, oh, Matt Campbell could be good, and then they just get wrecked. And then I think they were trying to get him back for 23, and then the calendars didn't line up, so they got what's his damn name? He was so good. Oh frick. Oh my god, I need to Google. Hang on. Do 2023 because Jimmy Jeep. Kevin Estray. Kevin Estray was an absolute champion at Sandown. He was so good. They go to Bathurst. He screwed it up a bit, but it was just like you knew he had it in him. And they wanted him back for 24, but then the calendars didn't line up for that. He put it in the fence. Because I remember he had a lock up on the straight, right? But it's still like, and I think the only reason that they got Kevin Estray was because he raced GTs, and so like when Stephen and Brenton would go overseas and race against these guys, they'd be like, "Oh, Kevin Estray's really good. We should get him." Uh Kevin Estray is just one of those guys who's been places and raced against some of the best in the world. But oh, so good. I think I've got a Dale Wood presentation somewhere. Wherever I've got it. Hang on. Where is it? Because there was like a bunch of events that led to Dale Wood getting the call up, I think, for 2024. Yeah, okay. So here we go. Decent driver, horrible attitude. What, Kevin Estray? Or Dale Wood? Because he signed to replace Kevin Estray after the Sandown 500 date meant Kevin was unable to do both Enduros. I think it's just something to do with the Enduro Cup that, like, hypothetically Richie could win the Enduro Cup, but I don't even think that was a thing in 24. So it doesn't really matter if you can't do both. You just pay him for whatever race you're doing. So, Dale Wood. Dale Wood has a record. Like, horrible attitude. What do you mean? What do you mean when you say horrible attitude? Because I like Dale Wood. He's got a record of just racking up results. Whoever he's with, he was good with Rick Kelly. He's got a record of just racking up results at Bathurst. What was the first one? The first one was 2011, 9th with Tony D'Alberto. And he just sort of got good at Bathurst. He just likes the place. So, and another one in 2016 in the Nissan with David Russell, 4th in 2017, 8th with Rick Kelly. 2020, they had the brake issue or whatever it was that ruined his race. 6th with Percat, one of the few times that Percat will actually get a top 10 at Bathurst. The car got cannoned by Goddard. And then the engine blew up in 23, which is so disappointing because I swear he got an extension. I swear he had a 2-year deal, and then they just went, "No, we don't want you." Probably because they wanted Declan Fraser. And then they put him in at Groves, and then Groves are like, "Oh wow, he did a really good job. Let's keep him going." So yeah, he was a crash out, ready to fight everyone. You're not confusing him with his brother in Carrera Cup. Hang on, what's his name? The other Wood in Carrera Cup. God damn. What is his name? He had a fight with James Moffat. Wood Moffat fight Carrera Cup. Glenn Wood. Glenn Wood was the one he had Biffo with. Goddard came to apologise and he was raging still. I mean, you can't blame the guy, right? That you spend the whole year building up to the biggest race where you're getting hang on. Where the hell am I? You got he's did a great job with Percat. He's gonna do a great job with Andre. Like it means a lot to these guys to, especially when you feel like you got a chance at the win. Like the 2022 Heimgartner car was good. The 2023 Heimgartner car was good. Like he was emotional at that one, and yeah, he just like at the start of the year, cameras are on still. Like my god, yeah, time and place to be aggressive like that. Yeah, yeah. But hang on, have there been other times that guys have been a bit like that? I think some guys sort of switch down, like when like Feeney in 2023, when the gear stick messed up on him, he just sort of like he had to be professional, stuff like that. And there are some guys who are just like that, and some guys who are, um, like I think who was there? I think I'm like guys like Gary Jacobson. He was upset. I think it was 2020 to put so much effort into it. I don't mind people like that. The ones who get upset, or the ones who are aggressive, but be a good driver. Yeah. Dalewood was a crash out. What when he was full time, or since he became a co-driver? That because I reckon since he became a co-driver, he's actually been pretty good. So what was it? He retired at the end of 2017. He was pretty good in Carrera Cup, but drove with Tim Blanchard, so he didn't really have much of a chance. Drove with Rick, but it was 2019 and then much of a chance then. 2020, the car crapped itself. Top 10, 2021. The one in 2019, that was the one that was pretty devastating because I had the crash out with freaking Yilden. I think that was just Yilden screwed that up, but I think Dale was a bit part of that as well. 22 got cannoned by Goddard. 23 engine failure. 24 the car died at Sandown, and they came ninth at Bathurst, but they were actually running fourth until they had to conserve fuel because the engineers screwed up. So yeah, he's actually been pretty good. Someone touches on track, he's ready to kill him. On track, I mean. Okay, so not like physical altercations, but just like he'll react and he'll be like really aggressive against them if they bump him or something. They bump and run him or something. He'll try and get him back and tag him or something. Yeah. B grade co-drivers, they're still pretty good. Yeah. Don't blame Yilden for that. Yeah, I can't remember who it was. There was something where somebody was clearly in the wrong. I can't really remember. I think we can actually look that up. We can look up a bit of 2019 stuff. I don't think I get pinged for that. So let's do a little bit of 2019 Sandown highlights. 2019 Sandown 500. Well, 500 highlights. Here's the thing. Why is that 1.5 minutes? That cannot have been a boring race. This is the 500 and there's like nothing. Hang on. Alright. Don't blame you for that. There was a third car. Forget. I don't understand how Tander and SVG made up that much ground. They were pushing, probably. So Firefox. Oh! I felt so sorry for Anton and Will Brown because they were doing such a good job. It was such a dive bomb. This isn't the full race. This is the second co-driver race. I missed Di Silvestro and Rollo. They were good. I was impressed by them. Moffat finally trying to get a podium after Chaz has just ruined their race too many times. So Wink Up in that one. They were hooked. They were just that good. Lowndes and Wink Up in 2019. But here's the actual 500. Oh. Whoops, hang on a second. Yeah, race 30th race. The 1 minute. Yep. Alright, cool. They were last. Yeah, they were last. SVG and Tina started last. Yeah. Alright, we'll watch the race 31. Get rid of those ads. It was weird having Sandown just before because I did the Bathurst, Gold Coast, and then Sandown. And Heimgartner on the front row, that was special. And Davo, sometimes that car was good, sometimes it was shocking. Oh my god. There's Brody and Jake nailing it. And then flipping the bird. Oh, I love it. Oh, okay, that's weird. Those graphics are weird. Ah. Yeah, but maybe Fabian didn't qualify well or he didn't race well in the. It's that Macca Jones in the 21. Oh, Jimmy. No, Jimmy tags him. Musket. That's why that's not why they got rid of him, because the team folded at the end of the year, but what a mistake. Oh. So, hang on. All right, this is what we're talking about. So they got what? Golding? They're getting blocked. All three on there. It might have been a little bit Jordan. He could have just watched out and still been in contention. Yeah, he just had his nose in the wrong place. And then he's tripped over and he's crashed it. Oh, Muscat again. Was he blocking? No, he wasn't. Dale's gone to try and pass Muscat and he's tripped over Jordan. which, maybe that's Dale's fault. It's hard to say. What do they say? Wholly and completely responsible. So no one was really wholly and completely responsible. Oh, that one was annoying. That one pissed me off because he didn't get a penalty for that, I don't think. Oh. I felt sorry for Caruso because he did such a good job as a co-driver for Tickford. And because of that, then he's gotten moved to Team 18 or something. Suspension failure. Yeah. The thing's, yes, obviously, the thing's squat. It's just squat completely. Whatever, yeah. You gotta pull that thing in. What? Jammed in there so hard. What's jammed in there? It's done. It's done. You can't finish the race with that. It's over. Ooh. I think he was just checking if he was going to damage anything by pulling it down. Okay. That was a good one. That was. I can't remember exactly what it was, but 2019 Lowndes and Wing Cup was just unbeatable that year. Muscat was definitely blocking. He didn't completely block though. He left room on the left-hand side, and you wouldn't had overlap. It's not. Yeah, I don't think it's completely anyone's fault. Bullshit race where they gave Scotty the penalty for the illegal engine, put him at the back of the grid. Yeah. I think it wasn't just a financial penalty, and they just took away his pole, right? So he kept the win, still technically started on pole, and then Mostert officially gets the pole. Not Jordan's fault at all. Jordan had overlap. Muscat was definitely blocking. I think there was just too much going on in it. Made him start rear gridders. Oh, okay. Yep. Fair enough. Yeah, well, I mean, that's not Scotty's fault. I think Penske definitely did a few things that were unspoken rules, and they've got an attitude about them. You see it in IndyCar, they're getting pinged for all sorts of stuff, and then when they're actually where they're actually playing by the rules, because now Penske owns IndyCar, you can't be skipping the rules, otherwise people say, well, we're gonna not race. They got done now their ass. Yeah. So okay, it happens. Yeah, I think it was a complicated crash. Jordan, Muscat, Wood. I don't think Muscat did anything wrong. He left a gap on the left hand side. Wood tried to get past Muscat, and Jordan was trying to get past Wood, but Wood didn't check he was there, or maybe didn't think he was close enough, and yeah. Yeah, well, Barry's like that. I mean, dude, I say mean things. Said, "Fuck the car, we're not fixing it." I mean, because it was over. What? He came. Where are we looking? We gotta look. Oh, I don't know what the results were. Hang on. 2019 Supercars Championship. Where'd they finish? Did they just not finish? Oh, go away. Reynolds. Yeah, DNF. Which, it could help a little bit. But it's the difference between 5th and 6th. And they're that far off him. Financial incentives. Reynolds was like 3rd in the championship. Okay. Financial incentives, not for the team, but for Reynolds for bonuses. I don't think he was 3rd at that point. I think he fell off after he was 3rd at Darwin, and they dropped off a lot because. Hang on, I'll show Firefox here. You can see this is 2019. Podiums at Darwin. They were getting podiums in pretty much every race and doing really well, and they were the arguably the best Holden team. And then they get to Townsville, have a crappy time there, crappy time at Queensland, crappy time at the Bend, podium, but crappy time at Pookie, 5th at Bathurst, and it's just like half and half constantly. Like they dropped. I'm pretty sure they were running like 6th by the time they got to Sandown. They were they're 600 points off 3rd. It wasn't going to happen. They pretty much needed completely clean weekends where you're getting podiums and top 10s in every single race, and their luck was gone. So, yeah. That's, it's like that sometimes where it's like, I remember the season. I remember Hazelwood being like 10th after Adelaide, and you thought, oh, he's really good, but then he dropped to like 18th in the championship, and that was pretty much it. That was he just didn't. You're shocked when Cub got 3rd. What do you mean you're shocked? He should be. He didn't do too badly. Hang on, we'll show it again. So bad in the first half of 2019. Triple Eight was so bad in the first half of 2019. I'll show it. It wasn't too bad there. I don't know if he made mistakes or anything. He was getting top 10s. Screw up at Tassie. All right, I think Van Gisbergen got 3rd because his gear stick was broken. Or was that 2018? It might have been 2018. And yeah, they didn't get their first win till Tassie, and the Holdens were just nowhere. No Holden got a win until SVG at Tassie. Because the Mustang was OP. Pretty much nowhere at Phillip Island, which was a bit weird. I don't remember what happened, but I do remember watching the race, of course. Issue at Townsville. Not sure what happened there. And 16th from Pookie because the second race at Pookie was so stupid. And, Lee Holdsworth should have had a good day, but he did not. Chaz got on the podium and said, "This is for Lee." And then they were on from Bathurst onwards, racking up wins and podiums. And SVG had a stinking Sandown. Jeez. Oh, well, that's because the failure, right? He should have come second in that way. That one there. Yeah. Like to Wing Cup standards, he crashed in the wet at Townsville. No, they're in the lead. Oh, okay. So they'd already passed. The SVG had already passed Wing Cup at Sandown, and then it died. Okay. Crashed in the wet at Townsville. It's the wet, dude. It's the wet. Like, what are you expecting? How did they catch up? Because it's freaking SVG and Garth Tander. That's how it happened. SVG was good from 2018 onwards. He was really good. Like 2018, like 2019, he was really good. Some issues happened. 2020, he was really good, but just luck kept going against him. And Garth Tander is a ripper of a driver. Like, there's a reason that days later that Triple H signed him. Penalty at Newcastle was so screwed for SVG. Yeah, the fuel one. What was it? They dropped it. They still had the fuel in the thing. It was just a safety thing. Like, it wasn't going to be a 5-minute penalty like they gave Murph in 2002, but there are rules, right? It's safety rules. Like, if SVG went because he doesn't know if the thing's still in there. For all we know, he'd knocked off his mirrors or something. Felt like Supercars was like, well, give it back to Scotty. They lifted it again. Okay, yeah. They knew they made a mistake. Yeah. Yeah. Tricky one. I like how sometimes people think that Supercars has some kind of hidden agenda about who's allowed to win and who's not allowed to win. Scotty ran a faultless race in that one. Numerous times during the year they let that stuff slide. With leaving the fuel you're leaving the fuel nozzle in the car and then dropping it and then lifting it back up. A lot of the time with these things, it's either someone complains from another team or Supercars officials say, yeah, that's a penalty. Lift it again, they let it slide. Yeah. And so people complain about consistency, and I think consistency has improved a lot since then. I think, I think what was it last year? And last year, people saying, "Oh, there's no consistency," and I think even this year, people saying, "Oh, there's no consistency." But I still think it was last year we saw, the 5 seconds and the 15 seconds. So that stuff was clear. The stuff in the pit lane, bit tricky. I think if it's a pit lane thing, you get 15 seconds or a drive through, depending on what it is. I think it's a pit lane penalty if it's something that the pit crew did. But yeah, it's tricky one. Yeah. Was there another time where they did that in 2018? But I mean, I just said that it's just inconsistent, and that was just like that. The pit crew did it. They did financial and teams points. Yeah. A pit lane penalty was for fencing someone. No, it can't be for fencing someone. If you took them out, if that was like their race was done, like they crashed them out. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, the way I see it, if the driver didn't do anything wrong, and had no part to play in the issue, like with SVG and the fuel thing, that was completely out of his hands. He was just sitting in the car. They dropped it. They raised it. They dropped it again. Off he goes. That was them. But instead, it was what they gave him a post race penalty of some sort. For 2018. Hang on, I'm looking it up. I can't remember what the penalty was, but he dropped him a certain amount. I think it was 5 seconds in that first race because he dropped a fifth, so it might have been 5 seconds. Yeah. I don't know how they didn't get a penalty for the wheel gun thing. At drive-through. Jeez, they must have been that far ahead. Post-race drive-through. I remember it was a post-race thing because we woke up on the Sunday like it's on, it's close. Whoever wins a championship, and then no, Scotty gets a free kick because Triple H got a penalty. So, because Scotty was running it. Yeah, I remember that bit because he crossed the line first, but the car coughed at the line and just parked it, and he couldn't get it to the victory lane. I think they got a penalty for that too. Like if you can't get the car to victory lane, you get a penalty, right? I think that's a thing. I think it shouldn't really be like that though. I think it should be like in the spirit of racing, it should be that you should be allowed to just, it's part of what's great about the spectacle of racing is things like that. Like, remember when Wincup's car coughed up fuel at 2014? He just pulled up on the main straight and walked back. Yeah, I don't see it as an issue. I see it as like they're really stretching the friendship as far as fuel goes. And we saw that with Jack LeBrock at Townsville. We saw it with Jamie Whincup 2014, Scotty 2018. Yeah, like, and I don't know what happened with Stanaway last year, but he ended up coming ninth. I don't know if they managed to make it back to the pit lane. Scotty 2017 Gold Coast. Yeah, he was doing the burnouts, and then the car just went into reserve. Was he in reserved or was he? Yeah, it was just like, yeah, you're almost out of fuel, mate. SVG it happened to once as well, right? SVG at Gold Coast, I think. He ran out of fuel, had to push it back to the entry pit. Like, yeah, that was great. We fucking loved that. That was the best. That was one of the 2017 was just 2017 has been my favorite year of Supercars. It was the first full season that I kept track of, and there was so much going on. Like, Walkinshaws were having a crap year. They just signed Scott Pye. He was having a pretty good year. Then you got DJR Team Penske versus Triple Eight, and how fierce the rivalry was. The results were up and down. Techno versus Team 18. You had Brad Jones racing with all the crashes. Your favorite was 2012. Yeah, I think I need to watch 2012 again because my recollection of it is not good. So I think I need to watch it again. I've been watching 2011. I watched Winton. Garth Tander was good at Winton. And then I was just watching a bit of 2008 Adelaide, two-team domination. And not only was it domination, it wasn't one guy leading the championship all year. It started off with SVG, then SVG lost it to Coulthard, and then Coulthard held it for most of the mid-season until we've been through this. You've seen my epic presentation about the 2017 season. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show my Fabian Coulthard presentation because it's a good one. But what was it? Coulthard lost it, and then he got back. Yeah, so this is when Coulthard has the colored numbers. So he gets the lead from SVG after the second race at Tassie. There's the penalty for causing a 12-car accident, 35-point penalty. And no points because no one got points in that race. Had the lead for most of the mid part of the season. Got the lead back for the Gold Coast and then lost it after the second race to Scotty. And I think Whincup had the lead heading into. Who had the lead heading into Newcastle? Did Scotty have it? Had a terrible. No, hang on. I think Whincup had it heading into Newcastle. Oh, Jesus Christ! It's such a thing. Oh, there was so much going on. He was leading in Pookie. Yeah, but who was leading heading into Newcastle? He got ahead into New Zealand. Yeah, after Gold Coast. Yeah, because Whincup had a pretty good one. Whincup was leading heading into Newcastle. Yeah, but I remember McLaughlin didn't have. McLaughlin had the coloured numbers in the last race, right? We can look it up. Am I going to get pinged for showing one of the most crazy races of Supercars history? Hope not. That'll be really annoying. Move that out of the way. 2017 Newcastle 500. Yeah, he is. Coloured numbers in the last race. There he is. Um, Hang on, I'll just show that for a second. Caruso put him in the wall. Oh yeah, Caruso was still racing. Yeah. Oh, the thing I remember most about it was um it was like a DJR Team Penske Saturday and a Triple Eight Sunday. So on the Saturday, like I think I can't remember if I was watching it or videoing on my phone. I just watched the Saturday race of Newcastle and I was like, they might get 1-2 in the championship. And then the next day, Fabian Coulthard's car shits itself, so it's in the garage for the first several laps. And then you said something about Caruso. Who hit him? Yeah, Coulthard DNF'd. Whincup, yeah, so Whincup crashed because Caruso put him in the wall. The 40-minute one. Yeah, I gotta watch that. I gotta remember everything. There was so much going on. You just watched it today, yeah. Coulthard DNF, yeah, in the second race. And then Scotty had his nightmare one where he got pinged for speeding in pit lane. I remember there was this guy who did a video showing Fox showing, oh, this is the speed he was going in, but like it was such a complicated thing. And then afterwards, Penske's protesting like, we've got the data. He wasn't speeding, but it was something to do with like the placement of the thing, the thing that tracks the speed of the car, and it's in a certain part of the car. And then not only that, but it was the timing loop. Yeah, the Dorian loop, right? So Scotty comes out, but then he just turns into a rage fueled machine. Punts Di Silvestro, and as soon as he did that, I was like, he does not deserve the championship. He's going to drive like this. He's doing a Courtney job of just punting everyone on his way to win the championship. And Scotty said himself in his book Road to Redemption, that was the stupidest move he'd never made such a sloppy move in his career. And it was because Ludo was in his ear yelling at him to put the move on. And Di Silvestro was pretty fast. So he's just like last minute dive bombed and tagged her and put her in the fence. And then he got a penalty for that. I think it was a drive through. And then he's come back out and he's coming back through it. Yeah, Di Silvestro at Newcastle was great to see. It was what you wanted from her, because like we want to see everyone get a fair shot, and her driving a Nissan was just was a bit of a disadvantage because it was a Nissan. But yeah, 15 seconds for that. He manages to overcome that, drags himself up to 17th, so then he can win the championship after he passes James Moffat. Triple Eight last minute pit Lowndes. Lowndes comes out, have the crash at the very end of the lap, post race pit lane penalty to car 17. He loses the championship. Like, dude, you cannot make this shit up. You cannot. But after hitting Di Silvestro, I was like, no, doesn't deserve the championship. Yeah, it was just. And I remember at the start of 2018, they did a live stream, and Whincup was he made this funny joke. He was like, he was like, yeah, the car died at Bathurst. It stopped making noise at the front end. The best race you've ever watched live. Oh, it was just amazing, man. It was amazing. It was just like that whole weekend was incredible. Reynolds got on the podium, Slade got on the podium. Di Silvestro was cooking all weekend. Her moves up the staircase section was incredible. And other people had got that shit wrong in putting those moves on. The Whincup joke. Oh, he just said the engine died at Bathurst. It stopped making noise in the front end. That was his joke. and it made Scotty laugh. That was cool. They were just talking about how much of an insane year it was, such a fierce battle. Um, just in 2017. In 2018, you could argue it was even worse because DJR were disadvantaged by not having the ZP Commodore pretty much. He got his league back ×3. Yeah. He got his luck back, you mean? Yeah, Scotty was an incredible driver and he deserved his 3 championships, I think. I think it was fine. 2019, it's not his fault that he got given he was bullying Triple Eight after that. Triple Eight were bullying him in Road to Redemption. I don't know if you've read it, but he just writes about this is what we were going through. Like Albert Park mainly 2018. That's all it's about. But it was fierce competition between Triple Eight and DJR Team Penske. They were there. That was the most fierce rivalry because suddenly Triple Eight had competition, like real competition. Like nobody could do it. I think probably similar to what they had with Erebus in 23, that it was pretty serious. But DJR Team Penske was obviously like a years long one. 2017 to 2020, it just would not stop. It was insane. And we love to see it. We love it. That's what we want. Because no one was taking it to Triple Eight for such a long time, and then suddenly someone was. And it was Scott McLaughlin and DJR Team Penske. Yeah, I don't think Scotty was... Yeah, I think that some things happened. I can't remember though. I can't remember. But yeah, that was the glorious time. The glorious time. Do we want to talk about some silly season stuff? Because I remembered a thing and I hadn't got around to it. Only 2019 was BS when I saw Lee Holdsworth dunking on Wing Cup and Van Gisbergen. Yeah. Which race? Sandown? I think Sandown the car was that good. Yeah, but Lee Holdsworth wasn't a bad driver. Early in the car, up till Perth when they clipped the rear wing. And also the car was really good. Hang on, we'll show the numbers. SVG was so much better. SVG was an incredible Supercars driver. And he was a bully as well. So his Holdsworth down in 10th. I got a whole presentation about everything that happened to Lee Holdsworth in 2019. I felt like he was not doing that car justice for most of the year. Like, where's your top 5 pace, man? But then you got Mostert, regularly top 5. For some reason at Tassie, Tickford were nowhere. And I guess it just wasn't that kind of track. It was just an engine track or something. And, the Mustang was obviously just like an aero thing. They just plopped it on top of the car. But yeah, just Tassie was... I think Wing Cup obviously shut the bed at Tassie. I don't know what's going on where he's come 25th there. And even Davison wasn't that good in 2019. Sometimes it wasn't his fault. I can't remember what happened at Winton, but I remember at the bend when the airbox caught fire and I was like, not another one. Because I think it had happened to someone else earlier in the year. Was it Waters? I know that Mostert's engine died at Barbagallo because I had a presentation on that. I think it was Waters, maybe. Holdsworth was the only one who finished every single race. I think it was Waters. Yeah. I think it's more obvious in the races because if you look at we would see Mustangs on the podium in every single race for so much of the time. This looks like Slade had a lucky one at the Grand Prix. And the only other car that would get on the podium would be, it's like, it was good. But the thing that I was saying throughout that year was that you have the two best Ford teams. I think it was two of the only Ford teams as well. With a new car, it's not unusual to see both of those teams on the podium at the same time. I felt like Holdsworth wasn't doing a good enough job, and I felt like Davison wasn't doing a good enough job. Waters was still relatively new, but he was getting there. And Mostert was doing his usual thing and just racking up trophies constantly. But he's Chaz Mostert, you know? And Coulthard was sort of disappointing as well. So it's not like it was that good. And it was only Perth where they got the wings clipped. So there must have been a clear disadvantage to ZB Commodore drivers. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'll look at what you said. You said a few things. Early in the year, SVG so much better. Holden got that gurney lip at the Gold Coast. Right, yeah. Gold Coast. Was it Gold Coast then Bathurst? Or was it Bathurst, Gold Coast, Sandown? And then Triple Eight started dominating. I think it was for Bathurst. I thought they got that. Look at the season for Scotty Mac. It's ridiculous. Up until Gold Coast Race Series, off the podium once. Yep. I'll show that again. I think you are right. I think he was on the podium. He was having like a Michael Schumacher time. Fourth in the second race at Tassie. Not sure what happened there. Maybe a bad pit stop. Second race at Townsville. That was the crash with Reynolds. Fourth at QR. Could have been another slow pit stop. Who knows? I think something happened in that race. I think so because he had a battle with Monster. I'm not sure what happened. Whincup was really good in that race. I think Davison was just fast. I think. Can't really remember all the details. Pukekohe, the first race. Not sure what happened to McLaughlin in that one. But yeah, he was smashing everyone. And got what, 18 wins? Was it 18 wins? In 2019, that was the record. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. Yeah. So, yeah. The one that probably shows, because I felt like the cars were pretty well prioritized in 2020. So Scotty was also really good in 2020. But you gotta remember this is the year where the tires were pretty short. So you kind of have to take a hit in one of the races. So it was like that. And in Townsville, they just didn't have the pace. In the first one. In the second one, they were pretty good all weekend. Something happened at the first race at the Bend in 2020. Oh yeah, the crash out with Whincup. Got ran off. Whincup locked up and speed him off. And that was where Fabian got the win, and Bryce got a podium, and LeBrock got a podium as well. And LeBrock had that awesome battle with Fabian Coulthard, and he couldn't get it. Yeah, like Scotty was just good. Yeah, that's my opinion. I think that's when he spun in quali till SVG 2022 when he was cracked. Yeah, when SVG got 21 races in a year. Whatever the hell it was crazy. Like SVG he was a machine. He would not stop. Will I please stop SVG? Oh, Triple A was ass in 2019 because they got rid of the twin spring. Yeah, I remember talking to some of the guys at Gary Rogers. I thought Triple Eight ran a triple spring. The linear spring dampers, which just means like one spring, And Gary Rogers said they'd never run a it was a linear spring damper. So I was like, okay, so here's a possibility that they might be up for a pretty crap season. And then they were talking about, this is Scott Birch from Gary Rogers talking about how I think it was 2013 Chaz Mostert put like a lap in Dunlop Super 2 that was fast enough to make like the front two rows in qualifying. Like he was just that fast in that year. There's some interesting stories you hear from guys who were in the mix. Yeah, I think it took a little while. I remember when they were hyping up Fabian Coulthard for 2019 as well, because they were like, oh, he's gonna be more comfortable with the Mustang because it's gonna suit his driving style. And then he put it on pole, and then he jumped start, and he got a penalty, and then he just didn't come back through because I guess he just didn't have the race pace. And that was the only pole he got all year. It's like Greg Murphy in 2004. Mostert 2012 Super 2 speed. Just had 0 racecraft. Yeah. 2013, he was about to dominate. Yeah. And once it's like that, then what's the point in him being in Super 2? It's like put him in the main game, he's ready. And that's what I said about Ryan Wood. It's what I said about Aaron Love even. But sometimes the consistency is not there because Aaron Love used to crash out in Super 2 as well. Mostert was like bulletproof. And then they go to Perth and they're like, okay, because Mostert's not here, it's wide open now. And so like Dale Wood's going to be the de facto championship leader, and he ends up winning the thing because they both drove for MW in 2013. So yeah, I can't remember who they put in instead of Mostert. But Mostert was also really impressive in the DJR car because DJR were like LDM slow in Adelaide. Steve Owen did a really good job. I think DJR was so slow at Adelaide, and then I think the next round was Perth, and they put Mostert in, and he puts it in the top 10 in qualifying, and you go, what? Is this even possible in this car? This is a dog of a car. And I was shocked because I legitimately thought the car was rubbish. DJR drivers were beyond ass. They had Johnny Reid and Tim Blanchard. It was Blanchard's like rookie season pretty much. And I can't remember where they got Johnny Reid from. But I think Tim Blanchard, like, what's the best opportunity that Blanchard ever had? I want to say what? So 2013 or 2012, he replaced Todd Kelly because he was an Enduro co-driver. Todd had back surgery, but the 2012 Kelly car was crap. It was straight rubbish. Like you're battling for 15th. That's what you're doing. Then he goes into DJR in 2013, and the car is just not where it needs to be because they have no money. 2014, he was a co-driver, I think, at LDM with Russell Ingall, right? I think so. Yeah. And 2015, they put him in when they expand back to 2 cars and get Nick Percat. And Blanchard actually beat Percat in the championship, but I think Percat actually missed out on a couple of races because he had an injury from Darwin or something, this wild Darwin crash. But I think that 2015 was actually Blanchard's best year. Hard to say. 2015 Supercars Championship. I'll have a look. We'll show it. 2015. Yeah. 2015. Let's go find him. Percat versus Blanchard. So yeah, Percat's up. Pretty much, I would assume that if Percat finished way down the order, it's because something happened. Percat was better than Blanchard, and then they went on to be teammates at BJR as well. But yeah, he was well up, and missed the back end of the season, missed 2 rounds, and Blanchard just beats him. All right, looks like there was a crash at Pukekohe. That's what it was. Darwin one is the one where the door was just ripped. But Percat's racking up top 10s. What I find interesting is that Percat in 2016, they like, oh, how good was Percat in 2016? He wasn't that good. The car was rubbish. They had and this they basically had the same cars from 2013 through to 2017. They couldn't afford the upgrades. 2015 was like the last year that they had something worth driving. And so Percat was doing a really good job in that car. Not doing the sort of job that he did in 2014 in the Walkinshaw car, where he came 12th on championship and racked up some podiums. But Blanchard was just not really there. He should have been cracking the top 10. He only did it once at Sandown, which I'm not sure what happened to that one, but 8th with who was his co-driver? Reindler? Number 3. Reindler, yeah. So they probably had a not so bad time because Reindler was in the car. But and I remember like seeing articles, and Blanchard's been on the Apex Hunters thing, and they just said like it didn't matter what he did. They did pretty much everything they could think of. He just wasn't able to get the results that he wanted. And you never know with these low budget teams whether, like Perkout was bringing a little bit of sponsorship, but Tim Blanchard was probably bringing even more sponsorship, and still wasn't getting the results. But I think Blanchard's actually been a pretty good team boss since then. So, maybe it's just like that. But I think they said Blanchard had won because he won the 2007 Formula 4 Championship. He was pretty good in Super 2 as well. I think it was 2010. He came second in the championship or something. But then he got worse in the next few years. So it's difficult to say, difficult to weigh it up really. Yeah, I can't remember full details. But yeah. Where are we? Good races in the major events. Tim Blanchard. Or probably Percat, yeah. Yeah, so what he won Adelaide because they were the only car that had actually filled up its fuel and reached its fuel quota, because I don't know why that's such just rubbish. Those sorts of rules. And then I don't know. I guess they just had pace at Bathurst. I don't know. Other people fell off as well. But he didn't qualify that well. He wasn't really anywhere qualifying. He was okay. He was pretty decent in qualifying. And Perkat's a Bathurst winner as well. He did get a podium in 2014, so he's got runs on the board to be able to do it. But he also has made plenty of mistakes at Bathurst as well. It's hard to say that he's actually good at Bathurst when he's so hit and miss. But yeah, 2016, it was like the last gasp for that car. But the only times that they got a top 10 was when they got a podium in the LDM car. And then 2017, that car was the best it could do was 15th. That was as good as it was going to get. 2011 Bathurst, such a lucky win. Yeah, after it slapped it in the wall at Griffin's, like, god damn it. He actually he ruined their race in 2012, right? He crashed it. Because I've got not on this phone, but on my old phone, I had like, how did such and such do a Bathurst? And it was like 2012. Percat sticks it right in the fence. And I can't remember where he did it, but it was just like, dude, you're a Bathurst winner. How did this happen? But yeah, I think it's probably just right place, right time for Percat. Dropped him for 2013. Last minute brought him back. Who was in? Who was in? Who were they going to put in? Hang on. Nick Percat, 2013 Holden Racing Team. Do. Back for Bathurst Redemption. In September, says looking beyond Walkinshaw for a drive. That might have been for a full-time drive. Yeah, he must have done something because he was driving Carrera Cup that year. Who were they going to put in? It was with D'Alberto. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. D'Alberto was doing all right in 2013. Last minute brought him back. Yeah, but who were they going to put in with Garth? Were they going to get McConville? Who was with D'Alberto actually? I have so many PowerPoint presentations open. I need to close some. I never heard this story. I forget. Let's look. 2013. It's probably like a little bit of a swap, like a Walkinshaw thing, because D'Alberto was driving a Walkinshaw car, so they probably had some sort of deal with that. I'm gonna show this. There we go. Tony D'Alberto racing Johnny Reed. Where did Johnny Reed come from, dude? I don't even think he drove in 2012. He might have done. Was he a DJR co-driver? Nope. Johnny Reed. He was just like... Oh, no, there he is. He drove with Michael Patrizzi at Techno in 2012. Okay. But he sort of came out of nowhere, though. Where was I looking? 2013. See, yeah. Wait, does that Johnny Reed ended up at D'Alberto? Maybe they were going to have someone else. Oh, well, I suppose they're not going to do an article talking him up, but... Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's an interesting one because I was looking at things being like, oh, Percat screwed up in 2012. Yeah, they dropped him for 2013, which makes sense. And yeah, they not only did they bring him back to do Bathurst, they also let him replace Courtney after his Phillip Island injury. And so he was able to get a bit of a start. And it's just like, what a turnaround. What a kick up the ass. Like, he must have really pulled it out because he started doing well. It got in the Carrera Cup as well. They were going to put him with D'Alberto. That's nuts. Anyway, I got some articles in Google here to look up. Oh, here we go. Ryan Briscoe. They put Ryan Briscoe. Okay, hang on. Here we got this article. Ryan Briscoe was in the Enduro events. It's unlikely he'll appear in HRT Red. So already locked away for Greg Murphy and Ryan Briscoe for his factory entries. So I want to see an article for 2013 HRT Ryan Briscoe. Because Briscoe had been pretty good for them. Had been linked to HRT at the start of the season. Here we go. Sydney Morning Herald. HRT secured Briscoe for V8 Enduros. HRT confirmed Briscoe as Ingles co-driver. And he drove with Jim Richards in 2006. Well, it's a very short article. Sort of interesting, like how long Briscoe was hanging around until around V8s. So, did he want to drive supercars? Hard to say. He's just one of those interesting sort of guys, like one of those interesting international drivers. This is a Speed Cafe article. Had been linked to Walkinshaw, initially telling, since the start of the season, initially telling media he'd signed for HRT. Doubts emerged recently about his attendance, thanks to Nick Percat's recall to HRT fold. Briscoe returned to... Yeah, so it must have just been talks until things were completely put out. Currently recovering from broken wrist sustained in an IndyCar race at Toronto. Yeah, that might be why. They might have just gone, oh, you know what? We'll give Nick one more chance, and we're going to put Briscoe with the old man because it's like he's already having a crap season. He might as well have Briscoe. And they got a freaking podium at the Gold Coast, dude. And Russell was in tears. He was like, you know, you never know when your last one's going to be. And it was like, I can't imagine the emotions he'd be having because he hadn't had a podium for a while. I think in 2011 he was getting beaten by Steve Owen, and then 2010 I think he didn't even get a podium. I think Murph did. He just had a rough run for a while. Remarkably put the second entry on provisional pole at Sandown before failing to complete a racing lap at Bathurst thanks to an early crash from Jim Richards. Yep, and that's why Richo retired after that. He was like, yeah, I think I'm done. Really excited to be coming home driving with Walkinshaw, partnering with Russell. Hey, you know, driving with Russell Ingall's not a bad gig, I'd say. You know, I think plenty of us would give our left nut to drive with Russell Ingall. Following the V8s all season, great to be driving with Russell. But yeah, maybe the injury to Briscoe had a lot more to say. So maybe that was a bit more to it. So Gold Coast International races. I was yapping, you're right, they stayed on for all three because the crash in 2012. For Percats. Is that what you mean? For Percat? That they kept Percat. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking that like if they were saying Briscoe thought he was going to be with HRT because I think he'd been reliable. He was what with JC in doing the international races. Let's have a look. 2012. I'll show it. Oh, deep here on the Supercars Mabini stream. HRT. Ryan Briscoe for the Gold Coast. They had Nick Percat with Garth, Briscoe with Garth. I don't think they had an international one in 2013. I think it was just normal co-drivers. Yeah, it was just normal. They didn't have, there was no international requirement. It was cool when they had it, but it was also a crash fest. Like, I think we saw Morbidelli driving backwards after he'd been spun, or after he spun, or whatever happened. So you got Briscoe. I remember Darren Turner driving with Courtney. I think Courtney had a stinker. McConville doing his thing, doing a great job. Yeah, Percat obviously confirmed. And then, yeah, they had Percat with Garth and Murph with Courtney. So they, yeah. And Courtney only missed the last round anyway after his crash at Phillip Island. But Murph wasn't great. Murph wasn't great, and he said he wasn't comfortable as well with because the way the cars just changed constantly. That you jump in it at the start of the year, it'd be one way. Jumping in the middle of the year, it'd be a different way, and it's just hard to keep up with the development. And so, yeah, interesting. I think they put Briscoe with Ingle um, because of the injury. I think that makes more sense because he did co-drive with Garth for that one, and it looked like Percat was on the chopping block after crashing out in 2012. Hard to say if Briscoe was doing a good enough job for it. It was the marshal's fault. He told him to spin. Yeah, and then the marshal told him, "You're going the wrong way," and then he kept going, and he probably went to go spin again, right? That yeah, maybe that's what you're talking about. He went back to the runoff. He went back to the runoff to spin it, and then Bridie's come out, and he's just run into him. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Yeah, weird one. It's a bit like that. That was 2011, so it wasn't too bad. No, it was. Oh yeah, it was too. We watched the 2011 ones because we were talking about Craig Lowndes. Yeah, 2012 just insanity from the start. That was the one with the rollover on the off the grid. Oh my god! And that was just because everyone was just tripping over one another. I think a couple of guys got a bad start, and just people went around one another and tripped over and crashed into one another. I think the Bottle car was on its side. I think one of the GRM cars went on its lid. Oh, it was nuts. Oh, that's what you pay for. That's why you buy a ticket. Just to watch carnage. That's what it's for. Wash drivers getting supercar drives. Yeah, they weren't like current championship contenders half the time. The only ones that were good were like, all right, it was 2012. So we're looking at Willpower doing a great job. I think you were saying Richard Lyons was really good. Sebastian Bourdais, IndyCar Championship winner. And fresh from Formula One as well. Like, dude. Except, hang on, 2008 was Sebastian Bourdais, right? 2012, I think he was back in IndyCar, started racking out some more titles. Then we got Graham Rahal, Marco Andretti, Ryan Briscoe in IndyCar. Justin Wilson, I think, was in IndyCar as well. Yeah, Justin Wilson was in IndyCar. Lucas Di Grassi, I think, was what, Formula E. Maybe not a great one. Ricky Taylor, is he a NASCAR driver? IMSA, I don't really know what the heck that is. It's some GT weird thing. James Hinchcliffe, a GRM, and Christian Clean, some of there are some wash drivers that you're like, when was the last time you turned a wheel? just out of interest. Simon Pagenaud was an IndyCar driver. And yeah, so he would have been really good as well. Really good pick. Vicentelli Liozzi probably a bit past it. Yeah. Okay. Liozzi was in F1 the year before, and it was shocking. Like Villeneuve was racing. Yeah, and Villeneuve was. I don't know what the heck was going on with that. He just didn't like it. Bro was washed driving supercars. I don't know what that last thing you said, the PMO? I don't know what that is. But yeah, I mean, that, first of all, driving the Greg Murphy car in 2012, not a great, pissed me off. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I didn't get the abbreviation. I haven't heard of that one. Yeah. Sometime and Jack Filner was taking a piss for like quite a while as well. Like even when he was in F1, it was like somebody else should be in this seat. Like David Russell wasn't too bad. Jack Filner was just banging around seconds off the pace. At least David Russell was like a competitive Super 2 driver. And also he was like one of their endurance drivers, so it was good to get him up to speed. I can't remember whose co-driver it was. I don't think he wasn't Murph's. Won his championship and then started taking the piss ever since. Yeah. He drove for BAR and BAR were a bit of a screw up. And he was doing okay, but he just Rick Kelly in 2012 for David Russell. Yeah. Yeah. I think David Russell wasn't too bad, and that's why they were like, put D Russ in the car. He'll do a good job. He was also was David Russell teammates with Cam Waters in 2012. Let's find it. I think he was it 2012. Yeah, he was Dreamtime Racing. Yeah, and David Russell was beating Cam Waters. Like, imagine that. Just imagine. And then I think Cam didn't have the funds to do the rest of the season, or no, the team went under mid-season. But D Russ was, oh no, yeah, D Russ was beating. He was beating Cam. It was what, once late in the season. I'll show the numbers. Yeah, I know Waters wasn't a good racer. Then Dreamtime was Kelly Racing. Yeah, they were running Kelly cars. Waters wasn't a good racer then. Yeah, he wasn't there yet. He wasn't even that good in 2014 either. But he was really good in 2015. So he had the time to finally get up to scratch. 2012. So you got. I really like the ones where it actually shows. No. Oh, Jesus Christ. What the frick is this mess? It's not the same. What the fuck? I don't think it is a messy thing. 2012. It's not really. I think they had Kelly cars and they prepared the cars. Somebody else must have raced them. I mean, they could have been them, but I don't. I mean, way to stretch it. Way to stretch the effort. But D Russ was doing all right. Yeah, looks like they went under. Somebody else was footing the bill, but D Russ was doing really well. It looked like he must have been top 10 in the championship especially after Queensland. And Cam wasn't good enough. 2013, he wasn't even that good. He was all right, but not that good. But it's just like, was it 20? Until he joined FPR as a driver, he'd only driven Holdens, which is funny. With the Bathurst Wildcards and then in Super 2 as well. And then he joined. When did he join FPR? Not 2013. He drove for someone else. 2013, I reckon. He was in a Commodore. Yeah, Minder Motorsport. Did all of it. Sam Walter, Todd Hazelwood in one of the rounds. And just not that good. Just not that good. But also, who was it? It was Sam Walter and so Sam Walter was nowhere. Hazelwood dropped in for a round. Was it round 7? 1, 3, 4, 6, 7. So it was last round, and yeah, he DNS. So I think he crashed in practice or something. Then 2014, he gets picked up for FPR and starts kicking ass. Pretty rough though. What's going on there? Pace for pole, but not good enough. I think I saw like 2014 Adelaide. They were just playing for they were racing for sheep stations, and Cam Waters was not getting the upper hand. Ash Walsh was beating him, and Ash Walsh sort of lost it, but that's because Paul Dumbrell was like, it wasn't that good in the main game, but he was pretty damn good in Super 2 when he had a car to do it. He was the benchmark for such a long time. But 2015, I think Cam destroyed all before him. Yeah, just wrecking ass. PD not quite close enough at all. Cam on the podium in every single race. Smashed him. Yeah. 2012 Super 2 was stacked. Yes. Yeah, so Russell was a Kelly co-driver. Yeah. After the Supercars showdown. He was green as, yeah. Was raced at Shannon's Kelly car in 2011. Yeah, with Grant Daniel. Had to be, surely. Yeah, well, I think there was some association with Dreamtime, but hard to say to what extent. Like, did they have their own personnel? Because with a name like Dreamtime, you'd think maybe it's like one of those Aboriginal sort of teams, like whatever it's. What was it called? There's a thing these days. I think we saw something like a little doco on at Townsville. They had this young bloke talking about how great it is. They got a Toyota 86. What is it called? We Race Together. It might be something like that with a name like Dreamtime Racing. Might be a bit similar. But obviously, I'm pretty sure Cam Waters and David Russell don't have that kind of ancestry. So I'm not really sure why they called it Dreamtime. 2014, he was with Jack Perkins in the Enduros with the FPR car. And I think I heard that Jack said that they had a shot at winning that year. So something happened. So 2014 Bathurst was obviously the crazy one where people who were in the fence at one point ended up on the podium. I think I heard that Paul Morris had stuck it in the fence. I think Taz Douglas put it in the fence. Jack be yapping. Maybe. I do need to see the 2014 season because I'm pretty sure Jack was just off the pace all year. Jack was never that good in the main game. And sometimes we say, oh, he wasn't in the right car, but it doesn't pop up with links. I don't know if I need to change something. Somehow made the shootout for Bathurst. Yeah, he did. So they must have had a fast car. Yeah, it doesn't pop up with links though. I think you've tried it before and it doesn't work. So I don't know if it's something in my settings. But what's edit mean? I'm scared to press that button. Perkins is not a good driver. He's got had a Bathurst podium. He's had a Gold Coast win. Let's say he's not always a good driver. He's been pretty decent though. Pretty decent. Like when Jack was with Jack Smith, I think in 2020, they didn't do too badly. Any of his success has never been because of him. Maybe. And we pair with Cam Waters, and Cam wasn't that crash hot either. He's just holding his own in the car. Yeah, and co-drivers often say, my job is just to give it back to the main driver in one piece and hopefully in the same spot as it was before. But sometimes a co-driver is in the car and going not fast enough, and then he gets passed, and then and the team boss will go, we are not having that guy in next year. He is too slow. Rick Kelly was like that in 2003. 2017 Gary Jacobson. Yeah, Gary was all right in 2017. He was really impressive in um uh in Gold Coast, right? 2017 Gold Coast. They were like, "Wow, look at Gary Jacobson, how good a job he's doing." And he didn't get a seat. Jack LeBrock got a seat. I mean, Jack LeBrock brought money. When Gary came in, he got his rookie season at Kelly's. He had Rabble, and Rabble only lasted 10 seconds. All 3 races, he was insane. As in really good? Is that what we're saying? Are we saying that Gary Jacobson was a good co-driver? I think he was also pretty good at in 2018 with Rick Kelly as well. Bathurst and Gold Coast. I remember Bathurst. He was pretty good. Something happened to Bathurst though. 2017. I remember Bright. Look, he got in the shootout. They had all 4 cars in the shootout. Um, and um, and I remember them talking about. They said Brighty loves a really stiff suspension setup, completely different to like a super slippy slidey one like Mostert and Waters. Him and Stanaway were cooking the field. 2017. Yeah. Gary and Richie. But Gary didn't get a lot of luck in the main game. But main game's a different beast. Main game is a different beast from co-driving, and it's a different beast from Super 2. To have a main game drive, you kind of have to really step up. And I think that's what Scotty said at Apex Hunters. They said, like, it's insane. Bathurst 2017, the way they put 30 seconds on the field. They did. I need to watch 2017 Bathurst again. Just there'll be things, but people were also making mistakes everywhere as well. Like I think Stanaway ran off at one point, and I think Matt Campbell who was with the SVG in 2017. I think it was. He ran off. I reckon. Like everybody was running off in the wet. Yeah, it was like if somebody just didn't make mistakes, they were probably going to win. That was pretty much what was going to happen. So, yeah, it's just nuts. I wanted to talk about some silly season stuff for 2026, if you're keen, because Van Gisbergen should have won Bathurst and probably the championship. Van Gisbergen wasn't that good in 2017. He was not. Let's get into it. Yes. So, obviously, we've got a vacant seat at Blanchard's for 2026. Yeah, but 300 points. Stataway coming good. Hey, Mike Spearwood, I've seen you in comments before. Welcome back. Stanaway coming good, or is he just as a good co-driver? I think he's coming good. I think at the moment at Premier, it's just shocking. He just has not had luck, and he hasn't got pace. Last year at Groves, though, he was coming good. So I don't know what happened there. Scotty Mack and Whincup have a shocker. I'm not sure. Bootleg champagne. I think we need more details. He's dreamy. Think he was getting that 888 seat. Stanaway, yeah. No, I don't think. I think 888 is only reserved for really good drivers. I think Stanaway needed to prove himself. And I think Stanaway was already signed for 24 before Bathurst as well. Golding seems to come good, but he's just too hot-headed. Yeah. What was it? The run-in with Ryan Wood at Perth. Yeah, it's tough to say. Like, how many times do you reckon Golding's actually had a run-in with someone? Let's say 2022, he was getting incidents. It was a bit rough, but also the car was unreliable. Golding will never learn, in your opinion. Damn. It's his driving style. Yeah. Golding is he's pretty aggressive. Actually, okay, let's look at some stats for Golding. I've got 2024 stats. I'll run up that PowerPoint presentation. He never knows when to give up. I think there's a lot of drivers you could say that about. Never knows when to give up. Yeah, well, okay. We'll get my 2024 ups and downs, and we'll see if there was any incidents. Sometimes it's just being in a car that's down the back. Like, a really good driver when they're able to handle being down the back. Oh, what the hell are you doing? Silly thing. Here we go. All right. So, raging 2023 Gold Coast. Do you mean 22, the pile up? Because that one, he just sort of bounced off hard in the chicane, went in the fence, and came out in front of everyone and then had the pile up. So that was just a mistake, I reckon, that one. I think there was something at Townsville. I think he did something in Townsville when he. Oh yeah, yeah. What was that? Hang on. And then Pye came through, and yeah, he's just reversed or whatever he's done, took him out. Yeah, that was a bad day for us Jimmy Golding fans. Yeah. And like the crazy thing is, like, Scotty Pye and Jimmy Golding actually like drove together at Team 18. Went to do a flick spin on the racing line, and it's a blind spot too. It's such a blind spot. Do a Cam Hill, reverse all the way down. That's what you gotta do. Do it safe. Uh, hang on. I'll show the 2024. Hang on, not Firefox. What am I doing? 2024 driver ups and downs. That's what we're looking at. So we've got Jimmy here. It's usually just okay. Yeah, Jimmy 2024, really good. Hit wood while passing and span at the Grand Prix. Yeah, that's not good. Got screwed over by Feeney. Absolute shocker at the Gold Coast. So I don't know if I write down too many things that he's done though. Then you go at 2025. If I find Jimmy. No issues from there. Alright. Oh yeah, Scott Pye just had the worst luck. Just the worst luck. Gotta find a good medium. Will Davison just moves over for everyone. And they were saying that Thomas Randall moves over for everyone, and that's what Scott Pye was saying at Apex Hunters. He was like, "Oh, he's being too nice." I'm like, that's not true. I don't think that's true. It's just like, try not to crash into people, right? If you're going to be racing for sheep stations in a slow car, like Will Brown did at Townsville, like Andre Heimgartner did at Townsville, Kai Allen was doing, just never giving way when your car is clearly slower. Yeah, like it's part of the problem is, like, if you qualify well in a slow car, there's this game called Motorsport Manager, and what I used to do was I used to focus on the race pace and then do the quali car once you got your race car sorted. Maximize your position. Well, that's what they're trying to do, right? Is they're racing for sheep stations in a slow car. It'd be like qualifying in the top 10 in an LDM 2017 car. Like, you're gonna come 20th, right? James Courtney is so OP at this point. What, dragging the BRT car forwards? I think they've turned a corner with that team though. He will let 6 cars by. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Let's look. That 7th is someone that's mid who will block the fuck out of you. That 7th is someone that's mid. Yeah. I'm not sure what you mean by that. 7th is someone that's mid. Like, yeah, I'm not sure. You might need to use an example. You might need to use an example for that one. Hang on, where's 25? Courtney. All right, so here's let's find. Forced to go via the grass to avoid hitting forward at the race start. That was a crazy one. He's just like had a great start. Forwards had a crappy start, and then he's just gone into the grass and around. And I don't know how he came 10th and dropped down, but yeah. Hit by Monster into Davison spinning LeBrock. That was a nuts one. Some chain reactions that he's been part of. And then I haven't finished going through all of my Townsville bits and pieces, but there's probably plenty more to go through. And they looked really good at the start of the year because he had real race pace at SMP. So, I don't know. Golding signed up for next year? I don't think so. I think he's off contract, actually. We might have to look into that. He knows who he can block and keep the position from and not lose 10 positions from a battle. I think that's experience. Golding will try and block a AAA car that's clearly faster. Courtney would never. Yeah, you gotta pick your battles. BJR car. Courtney will fight tooth and nail because he knows he can get that position because the car is of similar quality to his. Sometimes the BRT is a dog, though. Sometimes it's going nowhere. Yeah. And the commentators and Scott Pye talking rubbish about Randall at Townsville. He didn't have the pace. He had issues he was battling. It's like Brody Kostecki dropped to 16th. He didn't crash out. He just didn't have pace. Golding's been in the sport since 2018. He knows better. Yeah, I'd say. But you got guys like Brown and Mostert coming through the field at Townsville, and they were bumping people on the way through. Courtney used to drag it too. Yeah. Oh, Courtney used to be no good at Tickford as well. Hang on, I gotta check this. Like 08 Adelaide. I've got a little theory I'm cooking about Courtney in 2008. I think that Courtney threw away a few results. He had a crash with Paul Morris at Oran Park. Was it Oran Park? Was it Queensland? Was it Winton? Might have been Winton. He just pushing everyone out of the way. And I actually just started I think it's the first race, 2008 Adelaide. Courtney got a shocker of a start. Garth Panders come from third and just romped and just bumped his way past Courtney. It was leading. Actually, no, hang on, didn't bump past him. He dived him at the hairpin, and Courtney just left the door wide open. So Garth had the lead, and then Courtney got him back. Like Courtney had a car for the win. Crashed out with Lowndes, right? Didn't that happen? So he threw away a top 5 result. Crashed with Paul Morris, I think, at Winton. Race 2, yeah. And got the podium at he was second. Race 2, he was running second. Sometimes it's just like, do you want a championship or do you want a race win? Like, you gotta pick it. If you want championship, you take that second place. Lowndes was trying to pass him, yeah, and Lowndes was probably on fresher tyres having a go. And 2008 Lowndes, not as good as past Lowndes, not as good as 07 Lowndes. Hung around the outside, turn 9, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I want to double check that Golding thing. I want to check. Hang Hang on, I will show Firefox. I'm pretty sure Golding is off contract. Can we look up Supercars? No, I'll look up Wikipedia. 2020. This is Dunlop series. Hang on a sec. 2025 Supercars Championship. Let's try 24. I probably got that one. And then move to 25. I reckon Golding's off contract. But I reckon they'd be more likely to dump Stanaway. Maybe Premier might go for Cam Hill. Because Cam Hill's probably... Yeah, so here we've got Richie Stanaway is allegedly on contract. I heard V8 Sleuth said that Richie Stanaway was on for multi-year deal. Cooper Murray's on multi-year deal, so you got Jack LeBrock who's off contract. You got Jimmy Golding off contract. David Reynolds off contract. Cam Hill off contract. And I'm hearing mixed things from DJR about what was going on with Will Davison. I was under the impression it might have been a 1-year deal. But then I've seen an article from the boss of DJR, CEO of DJR, saying that he doesn't understand why people are saying that Will Davison is in question for 2026. Then we have no one under contract at BRT, and we have 3 guys off contract at BJR. So I think Fullwood's probably up there for who people might want to sign. I think LeBrock might be up there. Golding, not so much this year, man. He's been not good enough. And Cam Hill. So Cam Hill's top of the list. Then Fullwood. And that's it. Those are your top 2 picks. And then LeBrock. So LeBrock's not too bad. He's okay. Cam Hill, Fullwood, and LeBrock would be your top picks. And then you have to work out what the top pick team is. So now Fullwood's doing a good job at BJR, so he might be tempted to stay if he has the chance. And then whoever has the biggest bag of cash goes to BJR. That's just common knowledge. And also whoever has the biggest bag of cash goes to Team 18. I think Blanchards want Reynolds. I think that they'd be fools not to grab Reynolds. Reynolds will be a fool to go to Blanchards. Golding is not looking good. He was looking so good last year. And this year, just been issues. Just hasn't done a good enough job. Just hasn't had car speed. It's not been going well. I don't know what would be going on with Golding there. I'm gonna see what you guys have to say. So I have to stop for a second. Nothing. All right, I'll keep rabbiting. I'll keep cooking. So maybe Will Davison if he's off contract. So I think that Reynolds. I think it comes down to it's a bit of a domino effect. Basically, it's about whatever Charlie wants to do. If Charlie chooses to keep Reynolds, it'll create a bit of a domino effect. Blanchards will have to go for someone else. They might try to get Cam Hill or Bryce Fullwood. They also, you got Declan Fraser kicking around, so he's got a bag of cash. You got Harry Jones, who's just smashing everyone in Carrera Cup. He might have a bag of cash with that Caterpillar money. We don't know if that's actually if he's got anything for that. So, and then it comes down to with Blanchards, if Snowy Rivers are staying at Blanchards, or if they're running around with a bag of cash. So there's a few possibilities there. I'm under the impression that Will Davison is more likely to stay at DJR. He did actually do quite a good job at Townsville, and he had no luck. So, he was in the shootout. He qualified in the top 10, all 3 races at Townsville. He just got ran into by Will Davison, had a shocker on the Saturday. Something happened on the Sunday, the Friday. What happened? 7th. That's not too bad. So he just didn't have the pace, the race pace. Saturday he got bullied. And Sunday something else happened. Something bad happened. Damage. Who knows? Yeah. So Cam Hill top pick. So if I were him, I would stay at MSR. Some people are saying, oh, he has to go to a Toyota team because I guess people think that Toyota are going to be good. So here we got basically drive for BJR if you want to drive a Toyota. And the thing is, like, if you're driving, if there's parity, you can't drive for Walkinshaw. BJR, the lead car is already taken, which is Heimgartner. But Fullwood's doing a pretty damn good job. So I think there's a possibility that BJR might choose to keep Fullwood if he's bringing enough money. I think SCT will probably keep Jackson Evans, and we're hearing that Macca Jones might be more likely to stay because he's doing an okay job this year, which is apparently enough to stay at BJR. And then it comes down to whether Blanchards want to spend money or whether they want someone to bring money. And I think with the Cool Drive car, they kind of they want a young guy who's coming up. Aaron Cameron's starting to come good, so they might be waiting. They might be wait and see with Aaron Cameron. They want an experienced driver to lead the team, so they'd be trying to get Reynolds. But if they can't get Reynolds, maybe Declan Fraser, maybe yeah. There's a bit of a what do you call it, domino effect, and I think it starts at Team 18. With David Reynolds, I think he might, I know he's having a rubbish year. I don't think it's his fault. He hasn't been driving badly. He's just driving for Team 18, and sometimes they give you bricks. They give you a brick to drive at a racetrack, and so I think it's just like that. Like Premier are handing out bricks. That's what they're giving to Richie and Jimmy. Erebus have got rockets. They've just got 2 drivers who can't drive. Where Jack LeBrock seems to keep on having reasons to not be higher up, and Cooper Murray keeps on having reasons not to be higher up. Cam Hill and Bryce Fullwood are probably the 2 best drivers going at the moment, and both of them should stay where they are. That's what I think. I think that Cam Hill. I think Matt Stone Racing is one of those teams that they seem to keep on getting better and better and better. And Brad Jones is forever a solid team to be at. You can get good results at Brad Jones. Yeah, it comes down to who gets kicked. What goes on with that? If Will Davison's available, Blanchards might want to grab him. They would love to grab him if they could. Comes down to what Will Davo wants to do. He might just decide to retire, and it might be a bit last minute, but that's something possible. That's for sure. Yeah. Davo's done. He will retire after this. He's too emotional to be running around the back again. Yeah, well, when was the last time Davo was in a backmarker car? 23 Red, 2018? But it was mid-pack. He wasn't down the back. It was mid-pack. BRT, barely mid-pack. They're more backmarkers than mid-pack. All right, I'll show you 2025, and we'll look at Will Davo. It's kind of hard to say whether he's done a bad enough job or not. All right, here are the real numbers. All right, I know he's like 17th in the championship, but ignore that. Right, you look at whether he's doing a good enough job. Qualifying is not great. He needs to be qualifying better. But DJR also, they're having a crappy season. He is managing to drive the car forward more often than not. Albert Park, he was moving it forward. scoring decent points. He just had a shocker start of the season. Did not have pace at SMP. Townsville got screwed over in the double stack. Got pretty good Taupo for Will Davo. Shocker at Tassie. Got spun by Macca Jones, apparently, in the first race. Hit by Courtney into LeBrock, spinning LeBrock. Yeah, so not helpful. And they all ended up way down the order after that. He's all right. He's doing okay. It really comes down to whether you think that DJR are a car that should be in the top 10 or not. And I'm not sure that they do have that. You want to say Brody Kostecki's doing such a good job, but and we got I'll get my DJR PowerPoint presentation going. And I don't think I've updated it for Townsville. So we're just going to see up to Darwin numbers. But I'm pretty sure Brody is smashing him in the top 10 department, which is not a good look. It's hard to say if he's passed it. He was getting whipped by Anton, but then he sort of cooked at the end of the... Yeah, so it's half as many top 10s. Brody's in the top 10 of the championship. Will Davison is not. Some of it's luck, some of it's not good enough. Yeah. A bit lenient. Yeah. I'm a bit... Hang on. Sorry, he's done. Could be, but who's going to DJR? Cam Hill? Team cars need to be together. They do. They do. Yeah. Tickford kept Courtney for too long. But, maybe he had money and I don't know. He wanted to kill himself at Erebus. They weren't too bad at Erebus. What, 2015 they were? They were all right. He's always at the back, and Brody is like back end of the 10. Yeah. We pretty much just watch Brody now, don't we? We don't really notice Will Davison's still there. They do need someone else. At least when they had Anton and Davo, Anton would qualify in the top 10 every race, and then something stupid would happen and he'd lose spots. Battling 15th-ish all the time at Erebus. Yeah. He got that win at Winton. Couple good races, yeah. Yeah. And the thing is with older drivers, they always say they're driving as well as ever. So you'd think they'd have everything nailed right. They shouldn't be complaining about, the tyre's not quite right. He knew he made the mistake, got his ass out of there ASAP. Yeah. Driving the Merc was difficult. Lee Holsworth got out of there quick. Like, at first in 2014, he was like, "Oh, I'm probably gonna stay. We've pretty much got a deal worked out for me to stay." And then later on, he's like, "Oh no, I'm going. I'm not staying." So, yeah, probably the same. But Will Davison's been in the championship a long time. Who's gonna be good enough to go to DJR? Reynolds losing his seat at FPR was such BS. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say like Reynolds was in with a chance at the championship. He should have been on 2016. I think sometimes they shove him out though. I think they wanted Waters in. Waters was coming with Monster. Pepsi Max were leaving, so there's going to be a bit of shuffling going on. Had to be done because losing Waters would have been horrible. Yeah, Waters have won the championship. Reynolds was controversial. We like him for that, but it was causing him issues. Maybe Pepsi Max left because actually they reduced, right? They reduced their sponsorship, Pepsi Max, and they just had the bonnet of Mostert's car for 2016. And they needed to have something on Frosty's car. So they moved Bottle to that car. Then they needed money to run a car, and Reynolds wasn't bringing money. So Waters was bringing Monster somehow. So Waters comes with Monster. The what was the fourth car at the time called? The Kiwi car? Freaking Super Black. They had their own deal worked out. They were funding their own deal. So yeah. So I think that's why it happened. It comes down to money, right? If everybody had money, the guy died, so it felt like Tony Lentini, something like that. Yeah, he died. And then Blanchard's bought the wreck, and then so that opened up for Bridie to come with his wreck after he got kicked out of BJR for Percat. Interesting choice though. Percat didn't really bring much money, but what he had a little bit of Clipsal, but sometimes you don't know who's bringing the money and who's brought results. So yeah, and that's the thing, right? Todd Kelly did the smart thing. They were like, we don't have money for Andre's car. He was bringing Plus Fitness, but it wasn't him. It was Aaron Russell that they signed and put him in the car with Andre, and so he brought the money. Except they ran a blank car at the preseason test because they didn't have that was the kind of deal they were running on. So yeah, I say that somebody has to bring results. Like, results are better than money. And I think that's why Charlie signed Anton. And Anton was like, I would like a happy, safe home. I want a multi-year deal because all the current drivers want a multi-year deal, and all the rookies are happy to take one deal. Or all the people coming in that want to drive supercars for a full season, they might take the 1 year deal. So yeah, maybe Fraser will get a BJR. So I think Decker might be in the running. Like, he was really good in the Toyota 86s at Townsville, so I think he's looking pretty good. We'll see. BJR are less likely to announce a driver during the season. They do extensions during the season. They go real quiet on it. He just had horrible luck. Yeah, Evans has had bad luck. His racing hasn't been perfect, but he needs to qualify better. If you qualify down the back, you're likely to get in an incident like Cam Waters did. So broken wheel from crash with Cooper Murray. And he qualified a little bit better, 19th, but even in Darwin, he qualified 20th. But even in Perth, 13th to a crash. Like, that was a weird one, right? He just did it to himself somehow. And Tassie was really good, so he's got it in him to do a really good job. Where's Macca? Macca doesn't crash that often, right? And that's so Macca knows how to avoid a crash. Jackson doesn't. He's a quiet achiever. Like, he qualified last twice at Townsville. Didn't get in a crash. So I thought Macca was rubbish after he impeded Golding in qualifying at SMP, but he's doing all right. So yeah. For the season, Forward was definitely out of here. Oh, really? 24, he wasn't that good. Started cooking nuts nowhere. And became the best BJR driver at the moment. He's not in the top 10 of the championship though. Andre is. So we know he's Forward's racking up some good results at the moment. But he wasn't doing that good before for a while. Tassie, he wasn't that good. Um, he had one good result. He should have been able to back it up the second race, but he didn't do it. Heimgartner, number of times that he's outside, that he's well down the order. Not that often, so he's scoring decent enough points to hold his spot. He had a really bad Perth there. Doing a pretty solid job, really. Doing a pretty solid job, I'd say. And it looks like Andre and Bryce had basically the same results at Darwin, just at different races. Yeah, 4th, 6th, and 10th for forward, and then 10th, 4th, and 6th for Andre. So yeah, but his dad owns the team, so yeah, Macca's. Here's the thing, right, about BJR. It's yeah. If you were just gonna go based on if the most experienced driver should be the best driver, Macca should have been gone a long time ago, because he is he's the senior driver at BJR, but he just doesn't beat his teammates ever. So it's like, but then it's also like, are they giving him the best engineer and the best mechanics? Or is he just like the sacrificial lamb? Because he often has new engineers. Was it Tony Woodward is Andre's engineer? Like, they just sort of start new engineers at Macca's car. So it's yeah. I think Macca was ready for the step up for 2019, because in Super 2 in 2018, when he had a chance at the win, he was good for it. He had the crash at Bathurst in 2018 with Gary Jacobson, and then he had the car broke down, like suspension failures or something, at Townsville, when he should have been on for both wins. And that allowed Chris Pither to lock down the championship. The thing is, like, if Pizza Hut are happy with keeping Macca and they're going to stay on for next year, then they're not going to get rid of him. It comes down to what Pizza Hut want to do. Maybe they put in Decker instead of Macca, but it just seems unlikely. Macca has to make the choice himself, like Lance Stroll does it in Formula One. So yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a difficult one. I would say Forward's doing a good enough job to stay. Jackson's doing a good enough job to stay. He might need to get out of the bad luck he's in. And Mac is probably going to stay too. So yeah. So I think that's what will be happening for that. Let's find. Yeah, I think things will stay the same for BJR. I think the wide open seats are Blanchard's and the potentially open seat at Premier, but you don't really want to drive for Premier. Like, the choice between Premier and Team 18 is like, Anton's probably going to make the finals for Team 18, right? Unless he has an absolute stinker at Queensland, Anton's going to be in the mix. Cam Hill, if he has a good race at Queensland, and MSR is a Queensland-based team, they might be in the mix for it. I think MSR is a Queensland-based team. I'm pretty sure they are. Oh, Jesus Christ. But then who goes to DJR if you're so sure that Will Davison is going to be gone? Are they going to sign Cam Hill, or are they going to promote a Rylan Gray, maybe? Tickford are keeping Randall for no reason, of course. I would say Blanchard's a bit more likely to keep Aaron Cameron if he can keep up the pace that he's got, because they could convert that. They could just find a way to stop the Biffo. Because he got bullied at Townsville. Jack LeBrock if he stays at Erebus, and they might want to put Job Stewart in. You know, they've been blooding him for a while. They'd be keen to put Job Stewart in, or what's his face, the other guy. I can't remember his name, but the other guy who's supposed to be really good. Yeah, if there's that. Who are the co-drivers at DJR? Hazelwood and who's Will Davison's co-driver this year? D'Alberto. So D'Alberto's not getting a main game seat. Hazelwood won't want it unless he's a. Hazelwood might be tempted into the 17. But DJ might be more interested in a Rylan Gray or a Cameron Hill. So there's a possibility there, but the boss at DJR is saying that Will Davison's staying, which will make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, difficult to say. I think it definitely comes down to like Blanchard's want an experienced driver to lead their team. Experienced or a successful driver, because they got a Hazelwood, but they actually wanted Holdsworth. But Holdsworth chose to retire instead. And so they got Hazelwood, and then he only lasted one season. And then they took the money from James Courtney and then put Aaron Love in the car, in the cool drive car. So I'm pretty sure that they'd be eyeing Reynolds if they can get him. And I think Declan Fraser would definitely be in the mix. But Rylan Gray, I'm not sure if he brings too much money. Cam Hill is a shout. LeBrock is actually a good shout. You know, LeBrock was making mistakes, though, at Townsville. LeBrock is not perfect yet. He did a pretty good job last year in the Erebus car. He was pretty solid. Hazelwood isn't a consistent driver. Yeah. Whose main game story is over? What, Hazelwood? Yeah, you probably mean Hazelwood, right? Surely Fraser don't make the statement so he can be desperate to get to the main game. He seems to be a bit. I think that he's going to take whatever option he can get. He might even be he might be happy with a fourth car deal again and be like, I can do better than this. I can do a good job. LeBrock isn't too bad. He's not too bad, but like I said before, I think Cam Hill, Bryce Fullwood. Cam Hill was relaxed and waited for that MSR seat. Yeah, Fraser and Zach Best were fighting for it, and both lost out. And yeah, Cam Hill, like MSR looked at Cam Hill and thought, this guy goes from one thing to the next and does a pretty damn good job from the get-go. Like he hadn't raced in Super 2, jumps in Super 2, teammates with Declan Fraser, and Declan Fraser had actually already had a full season with MW. And so Cam Hill come fresh from Carrera Cup, jumped in to be teammates with Declan Fraser. You should expect the more experienced guy to beat the other guy. That's the way I see it. Like if he's, yeah, I think, and Cam Hill crashed at Adelaide, right? He should have been closer to Decker, but you got to remember who was in that field at the time as well. This is 2022, so we're talking about, there was a few Nissans in there. There was, hang on, let's look. 2022 Dunlop Super 2. Let's have a look. All right. So let's go down. There's only 6 rounds. Matt Payne, Zach Best, who threw it away. Hang on, no, threw it away 23, right? Zach Best had been around that long that he should have won the damn championship. He's driving for Tickford though. And Tickford aren't always on it. Everingham was good. But it was hit and miss. Pretty regularly hit and miss. J. Botham was okay. Zach Best won the next race. Matt Payne. Yeah. Then Decker wins the last round. So Decker won a couple of them. So let's go down. Cameron Hill, yeah. So he just didn't get the consistency together. He should have been closer, but he wasn't. He probably didn't qualify well and got an incident or something like that. Like Cameron Hill's qualifying pace, even in the main game, took a long time for him to actually be consistently up there. And guys who were beating him, like it was Matt Charter's time to actually get good. So there's that, but he's not even that close. Matt Payne, I mean, like it's Matt freaking Payne, dude. You actually expect Cameron Hill to beat Matt Payne? He didn't really do it. Everingham was good when he was good. Zach Best was very good on his day, but he was also like some stupid things happened fairly often. It's not even like Declan Fraser was completely amazing. He was just consistent enough to take it. Because he was in the top 10 in every single race, and that's all he had to do. Whereas Zach Best had a DNF at Perth and outside the top 10 at Townsville. And then you got the same thing with Matt Payne, DNF outside the top 10, except even worse. And then Everingham, couple out, 3 times he's had a bad race. So at the end of that, Cameron Hill 4 times. I can't really remember what all the issues. Actually, that DNF was just turn 8. He just went straight in the fence for some reason. Yeah, there was that. Yeah. Best sold that championship twice at Adelaide with dumb penalties. What happened? What did he do in 22? 23 I know was the one where he's just fenced someone. Just like, what the hell are you doing? Kai Allen selling Super 3. Yeah, Kai Allen put it in the fence at turn 8 and just handed Brad Vaughan the Super 3 championship. So suddenly Brad Vaughan's stocks go up because he was the only other competitive guy in Super 3 that year. Whereas Kai Allen was like qualifying in the top 10 every race in a Super 3 car. Like, there's just this random VE Commodore in the top 10. 2023, yeah. Yeah, that was the Zach Best one. Yeah, there's a few silly ones really. It's like, why have you binned it? Like, it's turn 8. I know maybe the tires could go off a cliff or something, but it's kind of hard to tell when you throw it into turn 8. If you don't have anyone right up your ass, maybe take it a little bit easy going through that corner. So, wasn't that great in the 2023 championship? Yeah, I'd agree with that. He just had like a couple of good times. Let's look. Yeah, he had 3 good rounds. Championship defense was worse. He got unlucky. Actually, no. Zach Bates started beating him. We'll go through this. So yeah, Zach Best, it was his to lose. Shut the bed at Sandown there, and Adelaide he turned. I can't remember who he did. He put someone in the fence. Was it Zane Morse, Jordan Sinney, one of those sorts of guys? He's just like driven up to the back of someone and banged into him and made it pretty much impossible. And Kai just sat there, didn't push too hard, raked in the results. Cooper Murray beat him in that race. He just had a couple of good rounds. So that's 2023. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time. He only beat him by 6 points. But like we saw it with Declan Fraser, just finish in the top 10 in every race for God's sake, and then you win the championship. Not just finish in the top 10, but you've also got to get some podiums, get some wins. So when they're on, get them. Good Murray was just chaotic. 2024 though, so the title defense, I think that there was some just unfortunate ones. But you see Zach Bates starts to beat him. Something happened in so this is the one that Kai Allen actually screwed up in qualifying at Perth. He should not have had that bad a run, but he did. And the next one, it was okay because the nearest contender might have been Aaron Cameron. Because Aaron Cameron was like a surprise contender. But look, he looks like he's got enough points there. Third and first might have been close, but Cooper Murray was nowhere. Cam McLeod was nowhere. Look, like yeah, no one was stellar. I think it was Kai Allen's until Bathurst. He genuinely just had a terrible time. They crashed in qualifying, and then they put it together. He came 14th in the race. Then the next one, the suspension just falls out, just breaks, and he just goes into the fence. So that's not his fault. But because of that, Zach Bates is having such a good run. He's recovered from his crappy season. It's like I think it looks like Kai Allen just wasn't. What's that? 4 wins in a second, and then you got 2 wins, and then 5 other podiums. I think Zach Bates just had a stronger year. I think that's what it was. Zach Bates just had a very strong year. Broke through for his first win, but he was also in the mix immediately. There was the freaking pile up at Bathurst. Not sure what happened at the first race. I think it was another pile up at Townsville. Probably Brad Vaughan or someone did something like that. Just caused an absolute pile up. And yeah, just some bad ones. He should not have been. I think Kai Allen just got unlucky. That's what I think. But then he wasn't that fast at Adelaide for some reason. And once that was clear, he wasn't going to win it. But then, like Zach Bates just won it by 100 points right there. So, like, which is what a 6 beats a DNF. That's what we're looking at. And yeah, so I think it's just that DNF. Because what? A DNF, you get no points, but a 19th, you get 48 points. So I think it just came down to Zach Bates finished every race, and Aaron Cameron finished every race. Even if they had some bad ones, with some damage or something. It was the fact that Kai Allen crashed out of that Bathurst race that actually cost him the championship. So yeah, that's my TED talk. Championship. Usually the Super 2 champion is a lot more dominant. Usually, yeah. Ryan Wood shat the bed multiple times, was the best driver that year. He was insanely fast. He was, when he was good, he was the best. But yeah, just didn't work. Yeah. It was a weird one, that one. because obviously 2023 was the first one with the new cars. Ryan Wood, it was his to win. It was pretty much his to lose because he qualified. He did such a good job in Newcastle, and then he went to Perth and smashed him. Then he's gone to Townsville and he qualified really badly in both races and carved his way through the field. Then he's won at Sandown, dominated him. Something happened at Bathurst, came fourth in the next one, and smashed him at Adelaide. So just bad luck and stupid mistakes. Brock Feeney 2021 was OP, almost Andrew Thompson levels. You know, I wish Andrew Thompson actually had a half decent car to drive at some point when he was in the main game. 2009, he was given the dog box from PWR, but then he drove to Walkinshaw in 2010 in their dog box with Fabian Coulthard. But I think he was just kind of slow or something. I don't know what it was. He just wasn't fast at all. Yeah. And yeah, so okay. But he never it's Fabian Coulthard, you know. Fabian was pretty damn good. There's some stupid mistakes too. He's crashed and he did not start at Adelaide, so he must have crashed in practice or something. He didn't look too bad, but he's had a lot of DNFs. So 5 for Fabian, but then an astronomical number for Andrew Thompson. And what came 8th at Sydney? Oh, in the race where everyone went in the fence. It's just what the hell? Oh, yeah. I might call it a stream. I think that might be the end of it. We're going for 3 hours. We do a solid innings, 2 or 3 hours. I'm getting tired. I need to eat. I need to have a good sleep at some point as well. I need to chill. As always, it's been awesome talking Supercars with you, talking about all sorts of crazy nonsense. I think we've been chipping away at the silly season. We're getting close to understanding it. Had a little banter about Will Davison. I was trying my hardest to defend him, but you know, I think you're making a pretty strong point about like the 2 cars should be closer than that. Yeah. And we had another commenter as well. That was really good. Someone I've actually recognized from commenting in videos in the past, back when I was getting thousands of views per video. But you know, it's different these days. So yeah, we'll my '08 theory. Yeah, about James Courtney throwing away a championship just about. Yeah, we might explore that one a bit more. I reckon he did throw it away a bit. He should have been a lot closer. James Courtney he's just one of those drivers that's just not as good as. Maybe he was never that good. Maybe he was blowing a lot of smoke around and people thought he was amazing and he wasn't. So, you know, who would you sign? Will Davison or James Courtney? You'd probably sign Will Davison. Yeah. So thanks for watching, man. And if Mike Spearwood's there, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. We'll catch you boys next time. You're gonna sign Courtney over Davo? What? What? That's. Oh my god. No. Sign winners, not bridesmaids. Yeah, well, that's it. Courtney won the championship. Davo's only won a couple Bathursts. You know, Bathurst might be the one that get the sponsors across the line, but Richie Stanaway didn't get a sponsor for 2018. They had to just put him on the Tickford budget, which meant no budget. You know, Ryland Gray sponsorship, basically, with Waters Whiskey. Courtney is the sponsor demon. He is. People love him. He's a personality. You gotta love him. You know, he's the man from Snowy River. He had Hot Wheels at Walkinshaw. He had, maybe he was the thing that got appliances online. What else has he had? Boost Mobile. He's got that connection there from when he was in karting. Yeah, but they were already at Stone Brothers. Stegbar were already with Stone Brothers, because they were on Marcus Ambrose's car. Then Pertec left for some reason. But they had Geldwin, and I'm not really sure where Geldwin come from. They might have been part of that, because Stegbar and Corinthian, they're all like household building products. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen like a Stegbar shower screen. And then you got like Corinthian make like door frame things for houses. Bish record sponsor. Yeah, but it was at Stone Brothers, because they came back with him. Yeah, but Charlie might have had connections. I haven't heard the story of how he did it. I'm sure there was a story, because he's just sort of like that. Charlie will just pull one out of his ass and be like, "We're bringing DeWalt in. We're bringing Irwin in." Like, where'd that come from? Yeah, he just like that. Also, the last time I did a stream, the audio was bad. I don't know. I don't know if it's my phone, because my phone's kind of cheap, but it's been crackly. So I hope it hasn't been crackly for you. Yeah. Hopefully it's been fine the whole stream, because I think there's been a few streams where it's been fine. But I think in the last stream it was really crackly, and I don't know if it was my phone or what it was, but because my phone, it's a cheapie, it's $130 phone. It's a Motorola. It's either spend $500 on a freaking Samsung or not. Courtney almost wasn't in Supercars altogether after Adelaide 2020. Yeah, that one was shocking. Because he wasn't getting paid for being a techno at Team Sydney. And Webby was just being a total tight ass, like he had been since 20. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but techno had been falling to pieces since 2017. Like, imagine winning Bathurst and then half-assing the next several years. Like, it's shocking. That was bad management or something. I don't know what it was. Maybe they just broke the bank or something, because I think the techno car in 2016 wasn't that good. Horrible business decisions indeed. Yeah, so Courtney left because it was just a bad environment, and then he ended up at Tickford, and he was okay. He was okay at Tickford. Yeah. We're good at the start of the year. Who were good at the start of the year? I just mentioned like two different things. Keeping up with AAA techno, where all right. Before I run away, I have a PowerPoint presentation about 2017 techno. Where is it? 2016? Okay. Yeah, they were right. I'll show you the 2017 PowerPoint presentation, because I think in 2016 they were keeping up, and they had like 2 or 3 really good rounds where they got trophies, and that was it. The rest of the time was like top 10s. Davo almost died in the Tassie crash. Yeah, well, he what was it? Lower spinal injury. It was really bad. He was cooked after that. Yeah, maybe. Still managed to rock up at DJR in 2022 as an old man and set records and win races. Better than Anton that year. Anton should have been a lot better. So Techno Autosports 2017 and what we can learn from it. Woodstock sponsorship announced, which I thought was incredibly late. Like, imagine the Bathurst winners not having a sponsorship organised until the 2nd of February. It's ridiculous. And it wasn't even a full year sponsorship. It's like, yeah, we're just doing the TV rounds. But not Newcastle for some reason. All right. Then they get Campbell Little. They announced on the same day. So they might have been working on it. And they did the 12-hour. Campbell Little replaces Jeff Slater. I think Jeff left to go do some other stuff. Like sometimes they got some big names in it, Techno. New tire tipped as a wild card. I mean, the 2017 tire was rubbish. Webb confirmed he's still working on getting more sponsors. Happy to have Edge Capital on board. And then they go to Tassie. They had some good pace. They were actually on. Stands for authority after they were competitive in Adelaide. They were competitive at Tassie. Then he has the crash, right? And it was a big disaster. Goes to Phillip Island. And they have to field an entry at Phillip Island if the car is actually good. Then Davo comes back from recovery, returns to recover. They weren't sure if they were going to put him in the repair or replace the car for Phillip Island. They didn't know, and they actually did end up repairing it. Still a lot of payment aiming to be ready. Qualified poorly after a mistake in the session. Selected 5th gear. Couldn't see much from the spray from cars ahead. So this is the crash. This is what happened. Qualified poorly after a mistake in the session. Selected 5th gear. Couldn't see much of the spray. Delayed reaction to the cars braking hard. Then braked hard himself. Shot to the left. Right rear wheel was torn off and ran to Rick Kelly's car at 122 kilometers an hour, 42 Gs, when it suddenly shot in front of him. Small break to an offshoot from a vertebra and a 46G impact. Okay, that's a slightly G. That's 4G more somehow. And he's fit to race. He's Macro Race Simulator. 5 days of pace innovation. So the 19 car, they fixed it. Rotate truck drivers to get the car to Phillip Island as quickly as possible. Did this PowerPoint break? Why did it break? I might have a different PowerPoint presentation. Hang on. Race, not races. Only 42G. And it's like so much worse than that. It was a hit and a half, that one. Where the heck is my other PowerPoint presentation? I swear I had another one. Maybe it was different. I'm not seeing it. I've got it somewhere. God damn. Now, maybe that's a sign to stop. Maybe that's a sign to stop. Hang on, where are we? Maybe, yeah. I swear I had it somewhere. It must be called something else. Oh, I know what it's under. It's in the freaking Techno one, which means it's in the Premiere one. All right. It's just a little thing. Just a little thing. Premiere Racing. Techno years. So 2017. All right. Woodstock sponsorship for all championship events. Edge Capital for Albert Park. 12-car pile up. Falls into his second race due to spam damage on the car and his own spinal injuries. Top 10 at Perth and Winton. Now, they... Oh, maybe it's in the Will Dayton one. For God's sake. I got too many different PowerPoint presentations about the same thing. Maybe it's in the Will Davison one again. Where are we going? Yeah. Found it. Alright. Poor start after crashing qualifying in Adelaide, then another during the race. Strong Perth and Winton, Darwin. Now, they actually did a test before Darwin, and Webby said, he said something like, "Oh, we're going to make some changes." And instead of those changes, like they had a top 10 car, right? They should have just not messed with it. But Webby was like, "Oh, we can do better than that." On a car that hadn't had any upgrades since like 2015. It's just like, what the hell, man? And it got worse and worse, and it became the 2019 ZB Commodore that couldn't go anywhere with Jack LeBrock. It's just so dumb. You know, like basically they were 2 years better than LDM, and that was about it. And then eventually, they're still running down the back. And then freaking Peter Gibris rocks up and spends millions and upgrades the cars, and suddenly they're battling in the top 10. But, it's just like, man, why? Why wouldn't you just sell the team? Apparently, I think we would hear that they were trying to sell the team, but just sometimes it's like the Webs are wankers, man. Just like when they were spending money, it was good. And when they had SVG, they were good. And I think that they're still doing upgrades in 2015. And then after that, they didn't. And they didn't have a car that could get top 5. I don't get that whole team, Sydney. What do you mean you don't? You mean you don't think the team Sydney was rubbish? Because they were. The biggest issue with them is that they were supposed to be based at Sydney Motorsport Park, and they were expecting there to be like sponsorship money involved, and there was supposed to be like it was supposed to be like a real huge thing, but COVID actually kind of ruined it for them because they couldn't do the things that they wanted to do, like have this whole educational thing going on at SMP, and maybe signing pay drivers probably wasn't going to help their cause. But they pretty much just had the budget for a lead driver and somebody else to pay his wages. So, Chris Pether with the Coke money, and then Gary Jacobson bringing his own sponsorship, and then Peter Gibber started investing in it. But it was just timing. They just got unlucky with it, but also bad management because the Webs. So yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap it up, man. It's half past. We've gone 3.5 hours. It's 11:30. I need to eat some more food and get ready to go to bed. And Techno almost ended Jack LeBrock's career. Exactly, because they said that they didn't need to upgrade the car anymore, and it's just Jonathan Webb would just say total rubbish. And I don't know how he looked himself in the mirror, man. It's like, what? That's why you gotta go like Phil Monday rocked up and basically, yeah. All right. Enjoy your night too, dude. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.